The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Yes, speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, beautiful people. It is Let's Get Hot Super Boost. Thursday Night Football Thursday, December 16th, 2021. This show begins now. Yeah! Shout out to Twine for that beat drop. Shout out to you for watching this show at youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. Massive Thursday.
Huge.
Not just because the Super Boost is about to go back to back. Back to back. For the first time in like 3 months, you know, Patrick Mahomes to throw a touchdown in the first half and in the second half. Go ahead and lock that in. They've already flipped the switch. The Chiefs are pissed. They lost to the Chargers. The offense is back. Everybody on that team was scoring touchdowns except for the people we all bet on for anytime touchdown scores. Let's assume Patty Mahomes. Now, Jackson Mahomes is back in the news, doing a little drama, maybe a little distraction from Patrick Mahomes. But Patrick Mahomes is going to do Patrick Mahomes shit tonight because this is December football. What did they do last week? They beat the brakes off of the Raiders. They showed up on, not the defense has been there, but the offense started looking like the offense again. Andy Reid and the boys were looking very dynamic. There was a lot of glitz and glamour to the offense again. People were flying around. Tyreek Hill with the little drag route. I'm faster than everybody on the field is happening. Travis Kelce, hey, let's get hot.
Here we go. Come on, Chief.
Okay. Let's get hot. Let's go for 3. Let's have this Saturday maybe or Sunday because we got a big weekend being the third Super Boost to hit after tonight's game. And we have a lot to talk about when it comes to this game and the NFL as a whole whenever it comes to betting and scores and everything like that because COVID is still running rampant. And although yesterday we thought there was a chance at the league meetings in Texas, by the way. We said, is it in New York or LA? And we're all New York.
Has to be.
Yeah,
Look
Jerry's house.
Look at that building. It's in New York. It was not New York. It's down in Irving, Texas, which I'm not sure where that is.
No, that's news to me.
I assume just right next to Jerry.
That's Dallas,
World.
right?
Well, Dallas is what, Fort Worth, right, as well, what?
Yeah, what? Yeah.
And then Arlington's right in the middle of those two.
What?
So I don't know where Irving, Texas is. I know they got a big fucking hotel, though, because Ian Rappaport called us yesterday from it, FaceTiming from it, and he showed the hallway where all the conference rooms were, where the NFL was meeting, the owners were meeting, the medical community was meeting, the NFLPA was meeting, and it was huge. It was in Irving, Texas. Classic. Where there was a little bit of optimism that maybe the COVID protocols that are taking out a lot of star players right now on a lot of teams. It's going to be up over 100 probably in the next couple of weeks in the amount of people that are going to be out, whether it includes coaches and players and maybe staff, as this Omicron variant continues to run through. We thought there was a chance yesterday at the league meetings that the NFL would make a little bit of an alter to the COVID protocols. And we thought there was going to be a little bit of a chance that maybe if they're asymptomatic and fully vaccinated, they don't have to test anymore. And if you don't test anymore, guess what? You don't know if you have COVID. Nope. And then if you don't know if you have COVID, you're not out until you pass a test anymore. We thought that was going to maybe happen. Then as we were talking about it in real time, because we didn't know this was even on the table for conversation until yesterday morning when we woke up, and it was slotted for a 20-minute convo that Ian Rappaport said, like, hey, this is a pretty big one that could potentially happen. The NFLPA can't let that happen.
Nope.
No.
Just on everything that and I'm not saying they don't genuinely feel this way, okay? I'm not saying they don't genuinely feel this way, but they have to grandstand on players' health. They've used it as their entire negotiating tactic for everything. So there's no way that they could alter the COVID protocols at all to lighten them to potentially make the world a much more dangerous place for the players.
That's right.
So as we came to that conclusion, it was like, oh, there's no way that's going to happen. Although we feel like if the NFL was to do it, they wouldn't be the only league that would do it. And businesses all around the world would do it. Other leagues would do it. The NFL would become an example and a monumental decision and a paramount decision in the history of our earth for the, rollout of the post-COVID life. So maybe that's also why the NFL didn't decide to do it. Maybe they said, hey, we don't want to be the ones to open the door. Whatever the case, we're going to have to deal with COVID going forward in the NFL. It's going to happen to big-name players, especially as Omicron runs through this holiday gathering. But that is not whatever. I mean, we just talked for 5 minutes right there
Yeah.
about, some big time conversations in the NFL today. And we haven't even dove into what I assume a lot of people are meandering their way to the street today for.
Sure.
And the table that was formerly known as the Toxic Table, a hilarious duo of humans that I get a chance to talk into microphones with on a daily basis, are the kings of the castle in the NFL right now. Right. At Boston Connor, who loves the Patriots. He's first in the AFC, obviously. Congrats to the Pats.
Oh, thank you, Pat. Looking forward to Saturday.
And his tag team partner over there at that table is Ty Schmidt, an actual owner of the Green Bay Packers, first in the NFC. After week 1 in the offseason, nobody could have thought that you would be here. Congrats to you.
Thank you very much, Pat. I appreciate that.
And Tone Diggs is here, one half of the Hammer, Dahn, COVID Cowboys, who battle through this entire crazy season and give out winning bets, not only in the NFL, but in the NBA, the NHL, soccer, everything that you could possibly bet on. You guys dive into the sports book and find the best bets possible, and have somehow been on a winning streak for like 9 months.
Yeah.
Incredible stuff. I really appreciate what you guys have done. And life is good for Tone Diggs, right?
Sure.
Life is obviously good for Boston Connor.
Incredible.
Ty, life's good for you.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people, even though the world is in a place that you'll talk about forever as being an absolute nightmare, couldn't fucking go anywhere or do anything. I think now as we're rolling out and we're starting to experience life again, I think people are starting to enjoy the smaller things. The things that were maybe taken for granted at one time are now being like getting out and seeing people look at just lights, like Christmas lights right now. Back in the day, I would be like, all right, get the fuck out of the way. Okay, let's take a picture. All right, let's keep it moving. Now it's like, oh man, this is cool. Like seeing people enjoy a moment, I think we're getting to a point where maybe our morale, and maybe it's just because I'm a stooge and I'm very incredibly lucky in everything that I've basically attempted in my life. But I think there's a lot better morale in the world than it was maybe like a year ago or 6 months ago.
Sure.
That is not the case in Jacksonville.
No.
That is not the case in Jacksonville. Well, I think maybe there is a sense of relief and maybe excitement happening around a locker room in Duval County. Jacksonville Jaguars. I'd assume there are some players and coaches and many other people within the building that are excited for the news that came in the early morning hours out of nowhere going into week 15 of the NFL season. Rookie head coach Urban Meyer officially fired by shotgun.
It's too bad.
It's like 1 a.m., I think.
Yeah,
I think it was
early,
like 1
very
a.m.
late.
in the morning. I woke up this morning, had no idea what to expect, was excited to get on the internet and see, hey, what happened? Austin Reeves, what a fucking baller this guy is. Just a dagger. He was playing, by the way, throughout the entire evening against Dallas, and I looked into basketball a little bit last night and over the last weekend because it's almost basketball season, and Charles Barkley's on in like 5 minutes.
Okay, Charles.
So I've been looking at it. So seeing Austin Reeves' story and him balling, and him being called light skin was maybe my favorite thing of the entire video. I love that. That is what a locker room is supposed to be. It's supposed to be fun, accepting of everybody, and I love seeing that moment for him. I was like, oh, good for Austin Reeves.
Yeah.
But I couldn't help that the internet, as soon as I just moved to one scroll, it was the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Basically every single time.
Sad Urban.
Urban Meyer gone from the Jacksonville Jaguars overnight. And I mean, we had a moment of silence for him, I believe, on Monday. And we also did a little memorial.
Yeah.
That's right.
Memoriam?
In memoriam, yeah.
Yeah, we did an in memoriam.
Yep.
During our memorial of his time as a Jacksonville Jaguar head coach, we gave an in memoriam. And whenever you run back through the year that was for Urban Meyer in the NFL, there ain't much good, man.
No.
There is a lot of bad. It's almost as if he has laid the blueprint on how, if you'd like to get out of a job, here is a very easy way. Now, I'm not saying that's what he did. I don't think he sought out to be the author of that book that he wrote here, but I do believe it has all the pieces of absolute clusterfuck, absolute shit show, absolute failure, and I think whenever you heard some people speak, like NFL coaches and NFL players that have been around a long time, and they had seen the college coach go into the NFL, there was some optimism amongst those people that Urban would fail. Okay? Anytime there was a job open in the NFL and Urban Meyer was on TV talking on Saturday, doing a good job. Doing a good job with his resume. Anytime an NFL job or a college job came up, it was like, oh, Urban Meyer maybe is the guy. And there was a lot of NFL coaches that did not get opportunities to become head coaches, have been assistants for a long time, who thought, who says this fucking guy is going to be good in the men's league? You know, who says that this guy's going to do it? A lot of people not happy that Urban got an opportunity to do a job in the NFL. There's only 32 of them, no matter where you go. If it's Jacksonville, if you can turn that place around, the Jacksonville community will be the most loyal, diehard Jaguar fans. If you win, you're going to go there, and it's a head coaching job you're going to do. So Urban Meyer getting a job over a lot of people. Piss people off. Behind the scenes. Now fans and people from Ohio State who I have immense respect for. Hey, immense respect for the Ohioans.
Love the Buckeyes.
Okay, I absolutely love it. They're all, Urban's going, hey.
He'll win down there.
Urban knows football.
He'll win down there.
And everybody basically that was in the media that potentially was friends with Urban or anything like it, been around Urban, hey, Urban's going to be a good football. He's going to set his culture in there. He's going to turn this around. Urban goes down there talking about how he's going to fix the NFL, by the way. Remember, he didn't like the way businesses and the contracts were handled. Urban's going in there. He's fixing the NFL, obviously. This needs to be changed. And everybody in the NFL is like, hey, Urban, welcome to the fucking league, dude. Yeah. All right, this isn't how the whole thing goes. And then after one embarrassment happens after another, whether it's, leaks and this and that and Chop House.
Of course.
And, not flying. By the way, the Chop House takes all the attention of the weekend, because the finger gun thing.
Right. Naturally.
He didn't fly home with his team after a loss. He's a head coach of a football team in the NFL with a bunch of grown men. You don't think they all want to fly after Thursday back to their fucking homes?
Right.
The head coach, though, the only one who basically has to be like, I'll go down with the ship. It's like the captain of, hey, I'm the head coach. I'm going to guide this football team, after a loss. Didn't fly back home. All the attention goes to Sunday at the Chop House. Right. Or Saturday at the Chop House, whichever day it was after a long golf outing. And he shouldn't have went to the dance floor. I mean, self-admitted. Sean, I was having steaks. I was having steaks. Seeing the grandbabies, just like I told you guys I was going to do. And then I made my way to the dance floor. And once you get on that Chop House dance floor, I'll tell you what, the music gets you. And I thought about the thoughts for a while. And then she came over and, everything just kind of happened there. I mean, it is.
He's the fucking ball coach, though, so he can do what he wants.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a head ball coach. And then he flies back to Jacksonville after that whole situation, erupts over the internet. And we do not, not cool for the family that happened, but we didn't make those decisions.
Nope.
Right? Yeah. So we didn't make those decisions and think that there was nothing that could potentially bad happen while making that decision. Zero respect for anything or even the job that he holds. Okay? So then he flies back to Jacksonville. And he tells the boys, hey, it didn't happen, basically.
Nope. Yeah.
Like, what happened wasn't this. It was there, but I didn't do it on purpose. Didn't tell the group of adults that are getting paid, the same amount, or not all of them, but the same amount or more than him, been around football a long time, have experienced their own lives, have their own families, have their own decisions to make in the offseason and shit like that. He lies to them. So then all of a sudden, there's stories of him getting laughed out of meeting rooms.
Yeah.
Yep.
Getting laughed out of it. As soon as you hear that a team is laughing at a dude, it's going to be tough for that guy to get back up there and be like, hey, this is what we need to do. All right, 3 things. Okay, pal, fuck off there. And then obviously, now we're learning, upon losing and nothing looking very good and a bunch of coaches leaving and his staff not being able to do what they're doing in the team, and Trevor Lawrence, what's going to happen with him? We feel bad for him. He'll get a new team, hopefully, new whole staff, and that whole thing will turn around. Maybe same staff, whatever the case, but now he kicked a kicker?
Come on.
Oh,
Irving.
my God. 5 out of 10. Kicked him right in the hamstring.
5 out of 10.
That's strong.
5 out of 10.
So
my big thing is, and we get a chance to talk to an absolute icon right now in the sports world about this, and it was kind of a long build up to get to this point because I think we had to for the Urban Meyer situation. Like, if Urban Meyer's kicking you and it's like, hey, I want to fight you, I think you have to stand up in that moment. Like, if he's calling Lambeau kicker and not calling him by his name, and I understand that you're a kicker, and our position, punter, kicker, everything, is much less important to the entire team than every other. I understand that. But as a human and as an adult, as the 4th highest accuracy percentage kicker in the history of the NFL, Josh Lambeau, at some point, whenever this dude keeps calling you kicker, you got to say, hey, My name's fucking Josh, all right? And I'm the 4th highest accuracy in the history of the fucking NFL. I can't wait to be on your goddamn team. Like, at some point, you have to say that. So all these stories are coming out. He never called me by the name. He kicked him. It was like, I understand, should never do that. That is disgusting. Okay, I'm happy he came out and told the story. But also, at some point, you got to stand up to yourself and say, hey, fucking asshole, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I think personally. But I'm happy everything got exposed, I guess, and we're learning more and more about the failure that was Urban Meyer Jacksonville. Joining us now is a guy who has been a part of the most successful television show for like, what, it feels like 45 years.
Yeah, at least.
Every single Emmy that they have won has been fucking earned. Ladies and gentlemen, a man who isn't a blueprint because I am nowhere near the human he is, but a trailblazer in the independent thinking sports personality who has dominated television and been amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, Charles Barkley. Yeah! What's up, man?
Hey, guy. Hey, listen. Hey, Pat, I want to tell you this. I'm so excited to be on your show today because when I first started in television, before every single show, like my first 5 years, my producer, Tim Colley, would say, don't fucking curse. That's the only direction he ever gave me. He said, Charles, don't, because I curse a lot in my everyday life. And to watch your show, I'm excited to be here today, so thanks for having me.
Charles, I am so honored that you even know I exist, like legitimately. I know you're an incredibly busy man. You've been around a very long time. Everybody holds you in high regards that are in high positions in this world. So I'm pumped that you know I exist. And also, I'm happy we didn't offend you with the fucks, you know, because you guys are able to be incredibly entertaining without swearing. I am not. And I don't have that filter. You know, I can't do it for whatever reason.
Well, let me say this. First of all, I'm never that busy.
Really?
I tell people I'm busy because one thing that happens with being in the limelight, people want you to do their shit all the time. Listen, I'm not even exaggerating, you get 30 to 40 requests for charity events every week. Everybody's got a golf tournament. Everybody's got a dinner. Everybody want to raffle you off to do something. So it became, and it's probably like after my 5th year of being in the limelight, I'm like, these people think I ain't got nothing better to do except their crap. And I learned like, nah, I'm busy. No, but I'm really not that busy because I really just want to play golf all the time and fish. But people really, and listen, everybody, charity is important. I want to make that perfectly clear.
We agree, yes.
But I can't do it all.
Yeah.
I want to have some time to be a normal person and play golf and fish.
Isn't it interesting, though, that if you don't do something, like let's say you did, because you have to tell them you're busy so that, you know, they understand that you can't do the event. But if you just said like, hey, I very much appreciate it, but I'm actually got something with my friends that night, they would say you are the worst human of all time. No matter how much philanthropical stuff you've done, you are the worst. This guy hates kids. That's what people would say.
And you're 100% correct because number one, every job I know does really good stuff. Most of them do really good stuff in community. Stuff in their community, or they go back to their hometown. But you're getting calls from people all over the country. Now, first of all, you've never met them. And like I say, hey, I understand that charity is important. But you're only one person, and I'm not going to work 365 days a year. I'm going to do the stuff that I want to do. But, hey, I don't even feel bad about lying anymore. You know what? I just don't have time right now. I got too much stuff going on. And when I say too much stuff going on, that means picking out a golf course that I'm going to or picking out where I'm going to go fishing.
Yeah. All very important. By the way, those are very important to the life to be lived that you've had. And any other excuses you come up with, please send them because I'll probably need them here in a few years. You know what I mean? I might get to that point. And if you could just feed me some lines, that'd be great. Have you gotten close because of the golf and the fish? Have you gotten close to retirement? I think that was being talked about, a couple months ago, like you were done with this shit or whatever. Is that true? Is that accurate? Are you in for the long haul? What's going on?
Well, I'm 21 years. I think that's the long haul.
Whoa. No. I'm saying, are we seeing Chuck on TV for the next 10, 15 years? No, from this point forward.
That's not going to happen. Okay. Hey, I love my job. I love the people I work for. I love the people I work with. But Pat, I'm 58 years old. I'm smart enough to know that I'm closer to the end than the beginning. And I don't want to drop dead on television. I want to enjoy the back nine of my life. Listen, I love my job. Ernie, Kenny, Shaq, the people I work for, they're awesome. Well, like I say, I played 16 years. I've been on TV for 21 years. I'm probably going to work till I'm 60. I got 2 more years left on my deal. Okay. But this notion that I'm going to still be going on TV when I'm like 65 years old and 68 and 70, I'm like, that's the stupidest shit I ever heard.
Mr. Barkley, Chuck, what, can I call you Chuck?
Oh, yeah, you can call me Chuck. People, hey, listen. Once the late, great Paul Westphal started butchering my name, calling me Chuck, now most of America calls me Chuck, so it's always good.
Okay, well, I've called you Chuck like 3 times, and in my head there, I was like, man, I maybe have been disrespecting this dude. Right to
No.
Why do you think some people stay on TV so long? Is it the attention, you know? You think it's the addiction to the attention, or what do you think it is? Why do you think some guys can't step away? Because there is some people on TV that are, you know, we're like, what are we doing on TV still almost, you know, some of the time.
Yeah, you know, I think it's a double-edged sword, to be honest with you, Pat, because I think if it has been your entire career, you can stay longer because that's actually been your job. But somebody for like yourself, me, guys like that, it's our second career. So we're doing it for fun because it's awesome, and we needed something to do. I think that's the main reason. But like I say, the only reason you would keep working to the day you die is because if it's been your entire career.
Got it.
You played in the NFL for a long time. I played in the NBA for a long time. We're just trying to make enough money so we never pour again at this state, and I think we got that covered.
Hey, good for us, man. Hey, it just happened for me. You know what I mean? Good for us, man, if you want to put that high five. Yeah. Okay, hey, good for us, man. Hey, we're going to call you back. Our connection just got kind of weak. We'll call you right back. We appreciate you, Chuck. This is getting good.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Hey, I like it. I like him a lot. He is somebody that is like a, you know, because there's this thing called the sports personality or something like that, Emmy. Yeah. And I think Chuck won it like 75 times straight or something like that. And the reason is because he is not like anybody else. Chuck has the ability to be so many different people on TV. He can say the obvious, but then he can ask a question or give a take that no other motherfucker can give. And then he's hysterical as well. He is hey, you back, Chuck? Groundbreaker, man. Hey, Chuck. Hey, there he is.
There we go.
There he is. Okay, so we just talked about the amount of money we wanted to make so we wouldn't be poor anymore. Let's move on. Let's talk about what you do for a living, the NBA. The game is changing this year. Is that an accurate assessment that Shams Charania told us after the more international-like rules have been instated? And do you like it and have more respect for the game, the way it's been moving?
You know, it's not the greatest thing for me because I think that they've taken all the physicality out the game. You know, you notice in the NFL, and Tom Brady said it, it's a lot easier to play football today than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. It's the same thing with the NBA. Is it better? I don't like using the phrase better. I say it's just different. Okay. It's a lot easier to play basketball. The problem is, and the biggest problem I have with, we got the greatest shooter we ever seen, Steph Curry, break the record the other night. The biggest problem we got now, we got a bunch of bums who are not Steph Curry jacking up threes every single night just because I have no idea why. I'm not even going to make up no lie. Listen, I want Steph Curry to shoot threes all night. I want Klay Thompson to shoot three all night. But the problem we got, because those guys are such great shooters, bad players are trying to do it. And that's my biggest problem. It ain't, our game, I'm not one of those old get off my lawn guys. I was playing golf with Emmitt Smith last week. And I said and he's the all-time NFL rusher. Obviously, everybody knows that. But the way the game has happened today, he probably going to have that record to the end of time. I mean, because we're never going to go back to running back, playing that long and being that productive. They're not going to run the ball enough. And, like, Emmitt's one of the greatest to ever do it. And there's probably other running backs who, if they played the way they played his day and gave him the ball over and over behind that great offensive line, they could do it. But now they're going to throw the ball so much, he probably got a record that's untouchable.
Okay, so Chuck, that makes me, you talking about the guys who are like, hey, if I was in that position, I'd be able to do well. In basketball, in the conversation, always, I mean, it's still being talked about every single day in the debate shows. I mean, they are still doing the Jordan LeBron every single day. Every single day it happens. And I don't, it's unbelievable that that'll happen until the end of time. Isn't it two different basketballs? Like Michael Jordan and LeBron James are playing two different sports right now, right? And if they were to both go to either side, like all you legends could have been able to play at any different style of basketball, right? Shouldn't that be the conversation? You think that's the conversation or no?
Well, I think it's weak, personally, to have that debate all the time because they are. I do. I think when you have no talent, you have to make up shit to talk about. Like, are we still talking about Michael? Michael's been retired 30 years, and LeBron is great. I got a lot of love and respect for LeBron, but first of all, if you're gonna do it like that, you should say he was the best during their era. That to me would make more sense than trying to compare. Like, Bill Russell to me is like a father to me. He's amazing. He's been a great father figure for me. But to try to compare him to Shaquille O'Neal, who's 4 inches taller and 100 pounds heavier, I don't know if that would be fair. But what Bill Russell did, it's probably one of the, win 7 championships in a row and have 11 rings. I mean, that stuff is incredible. But I just think some of these guys, they don't have any talent. So when they go on radio or TV, you know you're gonna get clicks when you're like bringing up Michael against LeBron. I just think those guys have no talent. To be honest with you, I think it's just easier for them to go on TV or go on the radio. The radio's the worst. Because listen, when I was playing in Philadelphia from 84 to 92, a lot of those guys were great friends of mine, Pat. We would play golf every day, especially during the summer. And I say, well, what are y'all going to talk about on the radio today? And they'd say, well, blah, 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 blah. I says, wait, you don't believe that, do you? He says, Charles, our job is to get these fools to call in for 4 hours a day and argue with us. We don't have to believe half the shit we say. I said, what? They says, you don't understand. This is just the business of radio. Our job is to get guys, girls, everybody to call in and argue with me for 4 hours. And I was like, that's the number one rule I took to television, Pat.
Me too.
I never want to say anything on television just to get, like, I'm so old. They didn't have clickbait back in my day.
Clout.
But I don't ever want to get on TV for people to say, well, Charles Barkley said this, let me address that. Because I want it to be factual. And like I say, even when I'm wrong, I'm never going to make up no bullshit.
Isn't it nice, too, that you don't have to remember anything then, right? Like, I always think about those people that don't actually believe what they're saying and they're just saying shit to say shit and to troll basically now. They have to remember everything that they said. And if they don't, you get like exposed, especially with the internet now. It's nice when you don't have to remember the bullshit that you said. You know, Chuck?
Yeah, but I think the main thing is there are no consequences.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
There are zero consequences. Like, I always laugh when these guys pick, like, everybody know I hate Skip Bayless because I think he's the king of, I'm just going to say shit so people will say they're going to go crazy on me. All right. But for me, what drives me crazy is, like, he'll miss 9 out of 10 games, and then he'll brag about the one upset he got right out of those 10 games. Like, I told you that team was going to upset. I was like, yo, man, you missed the other 9 games. But I hate guys who do that on television, who they are wrong all the time. But when they get one wrong, they go crazy bragging about it. That shit drives me crazy.
Yeah, I mean, sports entertainment is a very interesting thing, especially with the amount of hours that people got to fill, the amount of platforms now, Chuck. I assume that although you guys, TNT, you love TNT, I mean, you doing that golf shit with Bleacher Report because TNT and Bleacher Report have a relationship and like dabbling. Do you ever think about dabbling more on the internet? I know you don't really do it much, but
never.
you are beloved on there,
never,
Chuck.
Hey, Pat, never going on the internet.
Chuck!
No, because two things. Number one, once you're successful, I always say, being successful is like being a homecoming queen. All the ugly bitches hate you. I mean, that's the truth of the matter. When you're successful, you're gonna have built-in enemies, and then the more successful you become, the more enemies come at you. So I don't want to give them access to me because I'm not that guy. If you say something mean to me, I got to say something mean back to you. When I was younger, I used to fight all the time. I'm too old to fight now, but I can still verbalize some insult.
Yes.
And like, let's say if I'm out drinking, because people know I like to drink.
Oh, what do you drink?
If I'm drunk,
What do you drink?
A vodka. I own a vodka company called Redmond Vodka. Hey, you have your people send me some. I'm gonna send you some Redmond Vodka and Vulcan Gin. I bought a distillery in Alabama about 3 years ago.
Let's go!
I'll send you plenty of Redmond and Vulcan.
Okay, so
I drink vodka and tequila. Those are my two drinks of choice.
Okay, so you have a couple.
But let me tell you something.
Yeah.
If I'm high on vodka and tequila and you insult me, there's a 100% chance. Oh, man, thank you.
There we go. Let's go.
Thank you.
Yeah, you have a couple gins and vodkas and tequilas. Somebody says something on Twitter. It's fucking, hey, what? What'd you say?
No, I don't have a tequila yet, but that thank you for showing that. I try not to come on show.
Oh, then he's going to leave as soon as we get to plug
come on your shows if you pump up my shit. But thank you, brother. I appreciate you showing that.
Nah, no problem at all, dude. Honestly.
No, but if I'm drinking my vodka or some tequila and you insult me, there's a 100% chance I'm going to say some shit back at you. And the problem with being famous, Pat, and I don't like calling myself famous, but it is what it is.
Yeah, 21
People can say anything they want to me, and nobody gives a shit. But the first time I go crazy on their ass, I'm going to get crushed.
Yeah, you're not classy. You're not professional, obviously. Yeah. Be a
so
gentleman.
I choose not to let people have access to me in that situation. So I cut that out. I don't. People say all the time, "Hey, I follow you on Twitter." I say, "Yo, that's not me. I don't even know what the hell a burner account is. I wouldn't even go through the hassle. I mean, I'm the least electronic person in the world. Say that, but it's true."
I respect that so much, mostly because my Twitter come up when I was punter in Indianapolis. I enjoyed it because as a punter, you can't talk a lot of shit, Chuck, and I enjoyed talking shit in other sports. As a punter, you can't really, but on Twitter, some bum who sends me something, I can go back through his tweets and I can bury him, so I actually kind of enjoyed that entire thing. And now you can mute people. Oh, Chuck, if you ever think about it, you'd absolutely love it. You'd crush it. But let's go back to that role model conversation. Wasn't that was you, right? I'm not the role model. Mm-hmm. Do you not feel now, though, that you are? Like in role model, I think has a interesting way to look at this. But I think for like a lot of people that want to get into TV that are athletes and maybe aren't the exact cut that is normally allowed on TV, like you're a role model to me, man. You ever think about that?
Well, Pat, thank you for those kind words. Listen, man, I just tell the guys, first of all, it's a very difficult job because the number one thing you're going to have to do, you're going to have to criticize players. And if you don't criticize players when they deserve to be criticized, you're not going to last long on television because you're not doing the game for your teammates. You're not doing the game for your friends. You're doing the game for the people watching. Yeah. So I want to always honor and respect them. So I'm never going to lie on television. So my thing is when I tell guys, yo, man, you say you want to do it, you got to be honest. You got to be fair. If a guy's playing great, just say he's playing great. If a guy's not playing great, you got to tell the truth. That don't mean you don't like him. That don't mean you think he's a great player. He's just having a bad game. And I do notice one thing that sucks about our profession, Pat. When I give guys compliment, they never fucking call me.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant, who I love and rest in peace. I used to say, I said for like 3 or 4 years, 5 years, he was the best basketball player in the world. The one night against the Phoenix Suns when he didn't take any shots in the game in the second half, and we had that game on TNT, and I went off on him after the game saying, Kobe, I've always liked you, but what you did tonight was bogus. You didn't take a shot in the second half. You were trying to prove a point. You didn't have any help. He called me from 1 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the morning, cursing me out like a dog.
That's awesome.
I was like, and the thing was bad about it, Pat, it was all in text. We going back and forth. I said, yo, man, would you please call me? Would you please call me? You mother... oh, my... He called me every name in the book. Obviously, we passed things up. But I say, even LeBron has won at me a couple times. And I always say what a great person he is. I admire him as a person. He's one of the 5 or 6 best basketball players I've ever seen. I've said some things about him, and he went off on me. But I always laugh. I says, these dudes never call me when I talk about how great they are.
It's amazing,
but when I criticize them one time, they call me and tell me I'm the worst SOB in the world.
Well, that's
so
because
I learned I have to just deal with it.
Yeah, well, that's because you just became a motivator, right? Like that's the only reason why. They don't hear the compliments, right? They don't hear that. All of a sudden, you become the person, like MJ in the restaurant when the Utah Jazz coach walked in,
George Karl,
and said, "Hey, how are you doing, man? Hope everything's good." And that's all I fucking needed. That guy, that guy said I wasn't going to win. Like you become that whenever you say that. Like all the good stuff means nothing for that one chip that just got added on the shoulder. So, I mean, good for you becoming the guy that everybody still loves and respects and at least reaches out to you as opposed to just cancels you. Let's talk about the team that you have. Because you, Kenny, Ernie, and Shaq and you, one of the greatest duos on TV going. But do you all have that mindset, you think? And is that why the show has been so successful? Because it's like, hey, we all have to tell the truth. Everybody's on the same page there?
Well, we pride ourselves on that, but I think the biggest difference, Pat, I think people don't understand. We're on from 7 to 2 in the morning, and we try to reach a happy medium, basketball and fun. That's really the key. Listen, as much as I love basketball, I don't want to talk about basketball from 7 o'clock to 2 in the morning. Nobody wants to do that. I mean, that just sucks. And you know what really sucks? When you have 2 shitty games. It is the longest night in the world. So with the crew we have and behind the scenes, we're scrambling to make things fun. First of all, we always hope we get 2 good games. That happens sometimes. Most of the time you get 1 good game, 1 shitty game. So we figured out, like I say, if we got 2 good games, it's an easy night at work. But when we don't have good games, we figured out how can we make people laugh and have a good time. That's really the key.
A vibe is very important. And let's ask you about a couple basketball things real quick because I'd be an idiot not to, especially with your massive brain. LeBron James, Austin Reeves, AD, Russell Westbrook, are they turning this thing around? Is Reeves the hot hand? Are they going to be in the end? I heard Shaq say, he's happy they're changing the name because Staples Center was he and Kobe. This team stinks currently. Okay, they can get their own with that whole thing. Is that because it's LA and LeBron, or is it really problematic what's going on over there, you think, with how much money they've spent?
Well, Shaq thinks he owns everything in the world. Let's get that out.
He does, though. He does. He's selling printers to me the other day, dude.
Hey, Shaq thinks he owns everything in the world. Listen, I don't think this thing going to work in L.A. I don't think you can put all those geezers together and think it's just going to come together. Pat, sports are a young man's game. And LeBron, the most disappointing aspect has been Anthony Davis. Excuse me.
Jeez, is that AD right there? Just coming.
No. I said the first night of the season, they're talking about Westbrook and Carmelo and all those guys. I'm like, that doesn't matter. If Anthony Davis is not one of the 5 best basketball players in the world, Anthony Davis is in his prime. He's 27 years old. every jock who's been great know from 25 to 32, that's as good as you can get. Because you come out of college, takes you a while to learn, you get stronger, mentally better also. You normally hit your peak around 25, the start of your peak. And then from 25 to 32, you're like, I'm better than all these other dudes. I'm physically strong enough. I'm mentally prepared. And I thought if Anthony Davis did that, he could be the best player, one of the 5 best players, and LeBron could coast, Russ could do his thing, and Carmelo could come off the bench. It has not happened. LeBron has been breaking down, not just this year, the last 2 or 3 years, which means age is finally catching up to him. I mean, like I say, old people get hurt. That's what happens.
Hey, he was.
AD has not held up his end of the bargain, and I think that's been the biggest issue with the Lakers. But to answer your question, no, I don't think it's going to come together.
Okay, so if you go around the NBA, the other big story from like somebody who's outside like us, and we can't thank you enough for all this time. I have no idea if you were supposed to be out of here like 10 minutes ago or 20 minutes ago, but I appreciate your time here. The Kyrie Irving, is he getting traded? Is that why he put his shoes back on the video? Because are they going to make an exemption for him to play? Is he back? I mean, that's one of the premier guys in the NBA, right? Him out this entire season has been kind of bananas to even think about, right?
Well, it's interesting. You know, it's so much BS out here right now. People, guys were thinking like, oh, maybe Kyrie's coming back. But then it came out that he was just showing his new shoe that's coming out for people to buy before Christmas.
Smart. That's good marketing. That's good marketing.
I never even would thought about that.
It's good marketing.
Listen, I don't know what's true. I think everybody should be vaccinated. Everybody should get the booster. I'm a vaccination guy because I think that people got to, especially black folks, because I think they have to understand that we really need to protect ourselves. They have to understand that they're not going to get the same medical care as rich people. So I hope they all go out and get the vaccine and the booster. But as far as Kyrie, listen, that's the interesting thing about quote unquote the internet. I don't know if he's saying he's coming back or he's trying to promote his new shoes that's just coming out for Christmas. So I wish I could give you a real answer. I really do. But, and you know, as they say, you know, once you see it on the internet, it's got to be true.
Well, that's the thing, because, and I'm happy you said that about how your stance on, you know, vaccinations and everything, the reason why, because obviously Aaron has come on this show and talked about his stance on it, and we automatically get thrown in like, oh, we're pumping that. It's like, no, I want everybody to go ahead and speak how they feel and their truth. And I appreciate you doing that, man. That was a big time message, and I don't even think you knew because you're not really on the internet. You know what I mean? Like, that's not really a place where you dabble, but you're beloved on there, Chuck. Beloved.
Well, no, listen, I want to say this. I've watched you and Aaron quite a few times. I really do. I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. I know we've been trying to get this thing set up, and I'm really glad to do it. I'd be happy to do it again. Hey, as I told you earlier,
yeah, you're not.
I'm never busy. I just tell people I'm busy because they think I want to do their bullshit. So I got plenty of time. I'm enjoying this, man. So anytime you want me on again, just let me know.
We appreciate you so much. Once we get closer to Christmas and past Christmas, as NBA starts taking over, we will hopefully reconnect. We appreciate you so much. You're a legend, man. Ladies and gentlemen, Charles Barkley.
Yeah,
Thank you, dude.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Hey, Merry Christmas.
Charles.
Hey,
That was sweet.
Legend.
Awesome.
that was a good convo.
Yeah.
He's the best.
I think you could have had him for another 45
At least.
I know, but we
Come
got
back.
We literally. All right, hour 2 with Charles Barkley. I'm joking. That was cool. We didn't even get to ask him about the Urban Meyer kicking Josh Lambeau.
Yeah.
We got to get to it.
I saw him before. He was laughing the whole time.
So he
had some input.
All right, that's on me. We'll get him back next time Urban kicks a guy. All right, we have to get to a break.
Give it a week.
We'll be back. I don't know.
Wow.
He might
be kicking something at the Chop House, but we'll just wait and see. I don't know what, but something. Maybe someone's ass.
We got to get to a break. We have to. The thought that Charles Barkley's potentially going to become just a friend of the show is pretty
Yeah, pretty sweet.
Awesome.
He's retiring in 2 years too, you know?
Yeah.
Incredible. He's just like, I can't go on Twitter or I'll get drunk and just rip apart everyone who says shit about me. Awesome.
I can't help it. When I have a couple vodkas, tequilas, somebody says something at the bar, I can't help but be like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Just because that's how I was born. So I keep myself away from those situations.
I don't give him access.
That's awesome. We're back in 4 minutes. We'll talk more about what's going on around the NFL. AJ Hawk will join us in about 15, 20. This is a beautiful, let's get hot, Super Boost. Thursday Night Football, Thursday, December 16th. See you in 4. The Jacksonville Duval Jaguars are dead. And I think that is something that is a shame. But we should at least have a moment of silence, I guess, for the Urban Meyer-led Jacksonville Jaguar squad. He chose one time not to fly back home with the team after a loss. Said, I gotta see the grand babies. That's right. The only babies he saw were those young ladies at the shop house that week.
Devil.
He had to answer a lot of questions about that, but then he got back on track and started coaching football.
Oh, yeah.
Forget about the fingers.
And they won. They won a game in London. How'd they win? It's because they forgot about the fingers. That's right. And then they came back to America. And they lose. And they lose. And they lose. And they lose. And anonymous sources say, this guy fucking stinks. He's laughed out of meeting rooms. Everybody wants to smack him in the mouth.
Attitude reflect leadership, Captain.
Have a little mirror therapy, pal. A little bit. You stink.
You guys ever get yourself one of these? I didn't think so, you losers.
Hey, this one from high school. This one from college. And this one right here, middle fingers open for the NFL. If any of you would stop fucking me over.
Goddamn right.
That's what we're trying to get. Hey, you, defensive coordinator.
What's that?
You got any of these?
No, I don't.
That's why I thought you were a fucking loser.
I'm sorry.
You need to stop by the chop. Anyways, they're dead.
Hey, with the 17-game season, I talked to Pat earlier. I've seen some people try to say players may be pacing themselves or whatever. They can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Do you ever feel that with anybody? Is like your day-to-day change or anyone's mindset change with the 17-game season? And also, what are the chances that you're going to be playing in Green Bay next year?
Hey, that's good journalism.
It's a twofer.
Thank you for that too. For that, I find it hard to imagine anybody's pacing themselves. We're talking about one more game. You know, we've played 16 games for so many years in a row now. One extra game, you're talking about, you know, a 6.25% increase in playing. Like, I don't think anybody's actually really pacing themselves with the extra game now.
Did you just do that? Wow. Did you just do that math in your head right there? Or do you have the? Are you one of those guys like, let me carry the one?
42 times 82.
Yeah, they have this cover 2 defense right now. I've seen this 40. Is that you? Is that real?
That's real, yeah.
All right.
So,
7 times 2.
I do have some good mental math tricks I can do another time.
Another show. Another show.
Another show. Age, no comment.
Oh, shit! Hey, they're gonna have to bleep me out of a lot. They're gonna have to bleep
That's a good thing.
my reaction out.
I just wanted to no comment you, Age. That's fun for me. Now that you're a media personality, a big media guy.
Isn't that the first thing they tell you, though, when they sit you down your rookie year? Don't say no comment. That's what they told us.
Yeah, I wasn't part of that conversation.
But you are a rebel, though, so you can say it.
A maverick. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here on the... This hit's pretty hard, dude.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to hit FanDuel pretty hard tonight, huh?
Oh, hell yeah.
What? We got a big time Super Boost. Let's get hot, all right?
Hey, here we go.
It's a good one.
We've hit one.
What?
Then we've lost. We've hit one.
What?
Then we lost. We've hit one.
What?
Then we've lost. Then we've lost. Then we won.
What?
And now it's tonight.
Here we go.
Okay, and tonight's the night where we go back to back for the first time in like 3 months. That is an accurate depiction of the history of the Super Boost for the last 8 weeks, by the way.
Yeah,
To a T.
absolutely.
It was plus 120. Now it's plus 170. Patrick Mahomes to throw a touchdown in each half. Come on.
Come on.
Easy.
He's going to do it.
Yeah.
Go, Patty.
Doesn't even have to win. Hey, Chargers fans, it doesn't even have to win.
No, you can take it.
I think maybe Moneyline Chiefs. I think that probably feels pretty good. But Austin Eckler's playing. Justin Herbert just got hot. Like, listen, I think they're going to be good too. Let's not get crazy. Maybe an overbet too.
Maybe.
I mean, maybe slip in an overbet. Although, you know, defense on the Chiefs has been playing incredible. Maybe not.
Chris
Actually,
Jones.
maybe take that away. Chris Jones is out though. Oh, maybe bring that back into play.
But Rashawn Slater.
Oh,
on the
maybe
Chargers
take it
are
away.
line.
We need points. We need a shootout
Yeah.
to ensure that Mahomes is throwing
All I need
40
is 14.
times a half.
All I need is 14 points.
Simple.
Actually, just 12.
Yeah.
And I need one of them to come in the first half. Need the other one to come in the second half. And that's Super Boost for tonight. Let's go ahead and get it. Let's hit FanDuel as hard as that beat hit as we came back from the commercial break there.
Yeah.
Right in the mouth.
Can't thank you enough for joining us. Charles Barkley is fucking awesome.
Yeah,
Incredible.
I think he actually wants to come back on the show.
I'd say so.
He has to.
Okay, before we just, you know, talk about ourselves being friends with Charles Barkley all of a sudden. Okay, let's not get too deep into that, you know, because hour's coming to an end here before AJ Hawk joins us. And we will have to speak about Urban Meyer walking by in Adam Vinatieri. Bang, bitch!
Yeah.
Josh Lambo's hamstring.
Can't wait to watch AJ toe the line on that one and say nothing bad about Urban.
Well, I wonder what AJ.
Yeah, that Ohio shrub.
I honestly, I mean, we don't have enough time to dive into it.
I think he did a good job coaching.
Well, coaching, I mean, as a whole, terrible. The fact that this happened, I think a lot of people are saying, okay, so this gave the Khan family for cause reason to fire him because he struck an employee.
Right.
Yep.
Which was an actual quote from Josh Lambo. He said, you can't strike an employee. Or
Call
whatever.
me a dip.
Yeah, you know, like
Another
so
word.
So then Shad Khan got a chance to actually have in the contract to not have to. This is what people are saying. I have no idea if this is real or not. I'm just saying this is an angle that has been taken on the internet for proper reasons, because I think it's like 30 million or 40 million, and then like whatever something else could be. So that is why people, some people, not everybody, are thinking that this became the reason for the firing. But I mean, if a guy's walking by kicking me as if he wants to fight me, and I'm missing kicks at that point, I'm not in a good place. At some point, like, it's not cool. Can't fucking do it.
No.
But Josh Lambo restraining himself, I think, is incredibly impressive. Like, very impressive, especially with the mindset you have to have in what it sounds like living on the edge, you know, is where Urban Meyer, from a guy that was just not even calling you by your name, the amount of restraint to not say, hey, fuck you, buddy. Like, and he said, don't ever fucking kick me, I guess. And then he said, I'll do whatever I want. That not escalating into something, I guess, because Josh Lambo is still trying to make the team, he said, or whatever. He has much more restraint than me, I think, is what I'm saying. That, like, I just think that in the teammates of Josh Lambo, there's just a lot of interesting things of this situation we're just now learning about that has ultimately become the for cause reason for the firing. Maybe we don't know of Urban Meyer.
Well, he's acting like he works at IBM. Like, there's a couple places where, you know, you can tell a guy to fuck off if he's your boss. Like, on a football field is one of them.
Fourth most accurate kicker in the history of the NFL.
He's not some schmuck. Like, hey, you know, dickhead, call me by my name. I don't know if it was true or not, but is CM Punk the interim head coach?
Here we go.
I heard some rumors going around that might be the case.
What if that scumbag comes out as the head coach? And before the game, he's like, all right, say it with me, boys. Adam Cole, baby! All right, let's go beat the fucking Texans. All right, see you hour 2. Anybody hate you? And no, you can't say it publicly, but does
I would imagine there's a list, you know?
that'd be a shame. You didn't deserve it, by the way. You're just doing your job.
there are some people here who I've like had some like angst with or some tension with, but I see them at these meetings. Sort of why I come to these meetings, and you're like, you hash it out and you kind of figure it out, and you're like, all right, like, I was mad at you for this, you were mad at me for this. Let's fist bump from semi-social distance and kind of move on. That happens a lot at these meetings too.
Yeah, especially while you guys are out there boozing. You know
Yeah.
Yeah, why? Hey, you want whiskey for the guy pissed off over there?
Why?
Give me one Bud Light for the lady I offended over there.
Why?
Give me one beer.
Why?
One tequila.
Why?
One vodka.
Why?
I need to make good with everybody in this goddamn building.
Why?
Is that what you do with those things, man?
I mean, yeah, it's correct.
Yeah, it's a good move. Yeah, it's a good move. You're a legend.
100%.
Ladies and gentlemen, the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Coach Mike Tomlin.
Oh, man, Pat, it's an honor to be on with you, man. Thanks for having me.
You're a legend. Thank you for putting me through my workout and having the scouts actually come watch me kick at West Virginia. I don't think I've ever fully thanked you for that moment, Coach.
No, man, I've drank the McAfee Kool-Aid for a long time.
Let's get right into it. The locker room culture changed completely when I was in the league, from when I was a rookie to when I was done, and I retired after the 2016 season. Now it's even more different, I would assume, from when you came into Pittsburgh and everything like that. The dancing on the logo, the TikTok, everything like that you guys have had to experience. What is your messaging in there? How do you adapt and let players be themselves without, doing too much? Because that is a fine balance that you've been able to do, I think, in an incredible job with throughout your entire time in Pittsburgh.
I think for me, more than anything, I try to stay connected, just getting a sense of where these guys are coming from, what's in vogue for their generation, what captures their attention, how do they learn, how do they communicate, how do they interact with each other formally and informally. And I think being a parent kind of helps me. My boys are 19 and 20, so it's not much difference between them and some of the younger guys that I deal with here. And so for me, it's just about gaining an understanding, working to stay connected. That's my general attitude, man. It's adapt or die for me. And I don't want to be one of them old crusty guys, man, that just refuses to adapt. Although I am one of those old crusty guys now.
Yeah, you are old as shit now. You know what I mean? I mean, you've been around a long time. I remember back in the day, whenever you showed up, there was a lot more, to the camera. There's a lot more.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that. Now you're just old ass man now, huh?
You know how it is. Years in this business will scar you, man. It'll settle you down.
That is classic. One of my favorite moments with you is when you would tell me every warm-up, I'm going to get you back to Pittsburgh when you're old and cheap. What does that mean? What did that mean? And should that have been taken as a smack in the mouth, like whenever you said that to me?
No, man, it was a tip of the cap, man. There's certain guys around this league that I'm really interested in, but I know I cannot afford. And you were one of them, so I was going to wait for you to physically deteriorate a little bit until you came back into my wheelhouse.
Yinzers are going to go bananas in Heinz Field this weekend. First time it could be filled up in a long time. I can't wait to see it, and I can't wait to... Oh, mama, I'm in here, oh, my life, Is that your alarm clock? Yeah, just say yes, by the way. Yeah.
It's my ringtone. It's my alarm
clock. We appreciate you, Coach T. Last question before we let you go. Why'd you let Troy Polamalu do what he fucking did to me? I know you've heard of this. Why? Well, that's a short side of the field. That's bad football. You guys coaching unsound football over there in Pittsburgh? How did that happen?
We know you and love you as a man. But on Sundays in the fall, man, you're the nameless gray faces that we...
All right, ladies and gentlemen, head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, never had a losing season, absolute legend, two-time Super Bowl champion, Mike Tomlin.
Yeah!
Thank you, Coach. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee.
Unreal.
Oh, yeah. Foxy's added some new tools to the arsenal.
Hell yeah. A couple transitions.
Some new shots to the bag. Wow. I assume we've had access to these for a long time?
I've known about them forever.
Yeah. Why not today?
I guess. I mean, you just found out about them, so let's go.
Can we hit one more of those things?
Here we go. We'll go to the boys.
Yeah.
Whoa! Oh! Shit, dude! Bring it on! Hey! How about this one? Whoa!
What?
Bring it back. I'm blue. I would die. I would die. I would die. Okay. Way to really up the game.
Foxy!
That boy Foxy! Welcome back to the show.
Those are awesome.
Awesome.
Unbelievable.
Hey, one more. Hit one more. Do we hit
Come on.
New one.
How about this? That one doesn't do anything.
Foxy.
Is there a dissolve one?
See, this is where pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered. We got too greedy.
That's right.
We had a good run on 3 or 4 transitions. We tried to reach into 5 or 6, and we just didn't have them in the bag.
Bucket ran dry.
Keep working over there. Yeah, the well ran dry. That is 100% case. Yeah.
Some more water.
Yeah, we need to call them in. Maybe next week we'll find some new ones in there. But we appreciate you for joining us. It is this show, by the way, that will be talking.
The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat
What the fuck are
McAfee
you
Show
doing?
starts in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, beautiful people. Hour 2 on this Let's Get Hot Super Boost. Thursday Night Football, Thursday, December 16th. Shall begin right now. Hell yeah! Shout out to that beat drop right on time. Shout out to the hell yeah!
Oh yeah.
From the Kings of the Mountain over there, formerly known as the Toxic Table, the hilarious duo of at Ty Schmidt, at Boston Connor. How about Chuck?
Pretty incredible.
I mean, that was a Pantheon interview already, I think. You
I don't know
one
what
of
that
one of my favorites of all
Pantheon?
time.
Yeah.
He's in the Pantheon of greats.
So is that like a Mount Rushmore?
Greek.
Yeah, you could say that.
Like the Greek pantheon where they have all their gods sitting.
I thought that's where Zeus sits.
Yeah.
So it's like the Jesus's final dinner table
The
it's
Last
almost
Supper.
like the Last Supper. You could say that.
of the Greek gods.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the Pantheon is the Last Supper, which is the Mount Rushmore of the gods.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Man,
Yeah.
I'm gonna use that word at some point.
And he's in there.
Roman
It
Reigns.
was that conversation
Yeah.
was. Roman Reigns is at the Pantheon.
That's right.
Is he in it or at it?
Both, right? Because they go inside the building.
Yeah, I mean, you'd want to say in it
In the Pantheon.
with guys like Nails and, you know, WWE greats.
Technical definition.
All right.
Greek pantheon was ruled by a council of 12 great gods.
Okay, so
is.
it's the Mount Rushmore, but it's 12.
That's right.
Okay, so if you're in the Pantheon, you're a top dozen.
You're in a good
Boom.
spot.
Oh, maybe you had a baker's dozen there so we can Pantheon up.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, in the
Attaboy.
Pantheon. Attaboy. Tone Diggs is here, who's in the
How you
Pantheon
done?
right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Of
Hottest gamblers.
public gamblers
Ever.
on earth right now. COVID Cowboy alongside at Bubba Gumpino, hosts of Hammer
Dahn.
which go live 15 minutes after this show ends every single day at youtube.com/Hammer
Dahn.
Dahn, DAHN. And everybody thinks we're lying. We're not. They've been on a winning streak for fucking 8 months now.
Yeah.
Makes no sense at all, but we enjoy it. Now, granted, both Hammer Dahn Cowboys did saddle the Super Boost horse. Both hit one, lost their next one.
Correct.
Now, obviously, the plan is for this current Super Boost run to go forever.
Yeah, the rest of the
Which
season.
you will.
But as soon as it stops, which is probably 4 or 5 weeks from now, maybe. Who knows? We'll see. Maybe never.
Maybe
4 or
never.
5
But
years.
we'll get it back into the Hammered Dahn Cowboys. We need to find a heater, and there's no better group than the Hammered Dahn Cowboys to find that. Joining us now out of an attic in Ohio, excited to hear his thoughts on the entire assault of an employee by Urban Meyer on Josh Lambeau. Ladies and gentlemen, Super Bowl champion, college football national champion, AJ Hawk. AJ, your thoughts
What's up,
on
guys? Anything happen overnight?
Hey, your thoughts on Urban Meyer as a coach? Columbus.
I mean, obviously he's getting railroaded. We can see that. Right?
Hey, wait, how long
Thank
did you
you,
plan
AJ.
on saying that? How long?
Honestly, just right now, because I was sitting here watching you guys, and who knows? I mean, hey, did we say like we
Nah, I
saw
don't
this
think it's-
coming? I guess it's a little quicker than we thought, maybe.
Well, you know, we did have the in memoriam on Monday for him where we all had a moment of silence, and maybe we should have another one now that it is official. Let's have a moment of silence, please, for the passing of an era that was gone much quicker than expected, but definitely expected to be gone at some point. Urban Meyer and the Jacksonville Jaguars, please. I'll go whenever the mood is.
Serious stuff, man. There's serious stuff here.
Well, you need to fucking act that way then, maybe, huh?
All right, you shape up. You dial it in.
Tighten up, dude.
You tighten up.
It started years and years ago at a Big Ten conference in Chicago, Illinois. Shad Khan loves the Illinois Illini.
Hell yeah.
And Urban Meyer, obviously, god of Big Ten.
That's right.
Shad Khan asked Urban Meyer for his advice in the football world because the Jacksonville Jaguars under Shad Khan stunk.
Terrible.
Shad Khan said, Urban, I put 2 pools in the fucking stadium. I created bumpers. We got a good team, a good environment, good stadium, but we just stink every single year. And Urban said, I know a guy. Years and years later, when Shad Khan was looking to hire a new head coach after 25% of the allegations and complaints from players to the NFLPA about the building that they're in came from the Jacksonville Jaguars in 1 year under Tom Coughlin's leadership.
Hate this place.
This place stinks, all the players were saying. Had to get a new head coach. Shad was going to hire a big name, a splash name, and he asked Urban, who should it be? And Urban said, fucking me.
Ooh, handy in those pools.
Urban was the man. Urban heard about the pools and said, yeah, it should be me.
Dive in.
If you didn't have pools in that stadium, maybe somebody else. But now that I think about it, fucking me. And what I want you to do is, I want you to build 75 buildings around our stadium.
Smart.
I want you to invest $2 billion. I want you to build a whole new indoor facility. I want a place to look like Jerry Jones's fucking star. Shad Khan said, whatever, dude. Let's just win. I trust you. You're the guy that I was going to for advice for years and years. If you say build up an entire city, within the county of Duval, I'll do it if we're going to win.
Right away.
You're going to try hard for us, right, Urban? I'll give it all God.
Always.
We're using the word elite a lot around here. I know your family actually owns a company that has the word elite in it, and it is being put over to the max right now, but we're going to live on the edge. We're going to change the football. We're going to change the game.
Edging.
And then since that moment of getting hired, Urban Meyer just fucking stunk at his job. One scandal led to one more embarrassment, which led to another situation that was terrible for the entire Columbus successful community around there, let alone his family. When Jeff Hardy finger guns made their way into the Chop House dance floor, people were calling it a lap dance. That was a little bit more of a lap dance.
Build the statue.
Tebow warned me of this.
Then he lied to the boys. Got laughed out of the meeting rooms. Told them that we got 3 things we need to do. We need to do this, this, and this. And the entire team said, go fuck yourself. Now we are learning.
How is this a moment of silence?
It's an in memoriam.
Oh, my bad.
It's a eulogy.
Yeah, you're ruining it. Yeah, it is a eulogy
Jesus
as well.
Christ.
This is talking about his epitaph, dude. You ever heard of it? Fucking the Dash? You ever heard of the Dash, dude? That's what I'm trying to talk about right now. You know, because he was hired at this date. He was fired last night, in the middle of the night. I'm talking about what happened right here, the Dash. This is what it's all about.
Right.
It's all about the Dash.
Cronkite.
A lot of L's, couple dubs, and one kick heard round the world to a kicker's hamstring.
Can't do that.
Now he is out and it is over. Moment of silence, in memoriam, eulogy. Complete. Rest in chaos. Urban Meyer, Jacksonville Jaguars.
Miss you, Urban. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Dude,
Did I miss anything?
Well done.
No.
Yeah, the coaches.
Telling his coaches they fucking
Oh, you're
stink.
fucking losers. Yeah, let's go back in.
And bashing the laptop in AEW, too.
Yeah.
Saying I better coaches.
Giving
Bowling
Vrabel
Green.
that fucking dead fish handshake.
Yeah.
True.
Add all those things to it before we collapse, because that is a part of the Dash as well.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't be honoring the entirety of the Dash if we did not reference the times where he absolutely punked his fucking coaches.
That's right.
Tried to weasel Tim Tebow into the starting tight end position.
Bought him a house right next to him.
Iowa strength coach.
Oh
boy.
Dude, if you think about that, 6 other coaches too.
Yeah. Tough start.
All right. Rest in chaos, dude.
Miss you, Urban.
I don't think we do.
Subdued clapping.
I missed the chaos.
Well, it's because it's in memoriam.
It's a bummer.
When in Rome, dude, when doing something like such, you have to do that. Did we miss anything, AJ? Did we miss anything? Like, how about him brutally kicking a kicker in the hamstring. God damn it. Have we missed anything?
5 out of 10, yeah. Back in August, you're right.
What does that mean, you think? You know, and this is, you know, kicker. I like Lambo. I've never really hung out with him, but I've met him. He's incredibly talented at his kicking position. He was an MLS goalkeeper. This guy was drafted in the MLS. Incredibly talented soccer player, goalie, who made the transition to the NFL very well. 4th highest accuracy in the history of the NFL. Everything like that. Plays good guitar, I think. He's
really?
Yeah, he's a very talented guy.
It didn't get cut, though. It didn't get cut until weeks after the alleged kick of the hamstring because he'd been missing kicks and extra points, though, right?
Yes, I believe, and he even admitted that he didn't get cut for that, but you have to assume that whenever you just, a 5 out of 10, dude.
Yeah.
5 out of 10.
He didn't report it, though. Did you guys talk about how he reported it to his agent? His agent called the Jags. The Jags said, okay, let's have like a counseling session. And Lambo, I think, said something about I'm not really aware of that. I don't remember that being the case.
Okay, so the Jaguars are saying, hey, we heard about this. We tried to do everything possible to make the situation be much better after acknowledging it. Lambo say never heard of it. Let's see if there's any more information from behind the scenes that we may have missed here. Is a 5 out of 10 like, hey, I want to fight you? And if a dude was calling me kicker or punter, then kicking me, and he had a higher percentage than a lot of people, if I had the 9th highest, 10th highest, 11th highest, 15th highest, and I'd been around for a long, 10th highest, 9th highest, top 10. If I had top 10. And a guy was not calling me by my name and kicking me, like at some point, right, I assume he said, like, hey, my name's Josh, fuck off, or is that just how Urban does his thing, you think, AJ?
I mean, I would assume people have stood up like that and stood up for themselves. Now, in this situation, I don't know. Urban hasn't spoke on it, but don't you think Urban will say, like, I was playfully kicking him. I was almost like joking around, like, hey, man, make your kicks. Like, I was just trying to get him going.
Yeah, Urban's side of this is I was actually trying to become better friends with this guy. Yeah. Hey, dipshit, make your fucking kicks. Like, motivate him. That's probably how, like an Ohioan potentially would think about this whole thing. Joining us now, who might have a little bit more behind the scenes information. He joined us yesterday because he was in a hotel in Texas.
Right.
I think he's still currently maybe there. I don't know if he's back at home in New Jersey. Insider for the NFL and NFL.com and host of the weekly roundup with Rap Sheet, Wrap Up with Rap Sheet and Friends, us being the friends. Ladies and gentlemen, Ian Rappaport. Oh, you're back home. You're back home.
Yeah, back home, thank God. No delays. Everything went well with the flight.
Somebody hates Texas.
Good stuff.
Oh, really? Well, congratulations on that, especially on the holiday travel. Hope everything.
Not the same situation to my esteemed colleague Tom Pelissero, whose flight was canceled yesterday and had to stay in Dallas and flew out today.
Okay. You sound a little muffled. We're going to call you back. Hold on one second. This has been happening, by the way. Is it our internet, you think?
Bill Gates. Probably Bill Gates.
I figured Pelissero would just travel through the internet wires, right?
Yeah, why would he even think about commercial travel when Eurolink can just go right through Wreck-It Ralph?
Yeah, just like that. Just travel from router to router.
Quick, going back to Urban, though, Pat, if he was winning games, this doesn't matter.
None of this matters. Yeah, none of this matters. He's not getting asked about any sources and leaks. And by the way, him asking his coaches if they've ever won before is portrayed in a much different narrative. Like, as opposed to it being like him calling out the losers, he was actually saying, like, hey, we're all in this together. None of us have really won. We're all trying to get going. But since they're losing and they stink, and it appears as if he lost the entire culture, and now he's kicking people. I mean, it's a much different narrative. You're 100% right, though. Winning cures everything. Speaking of winning, that's all this guy does. Ian Rappaport joins us again.
Winner! I ditched the AirPods. Hopefully we're still good.
Smart. Sometimes the speaker on the AirPods isn't as great. Not your fault. Probably ours, and definitely Tim Cook's, because he could have made it much better. He chose not to. Rappaport, let's talk about the kick to the hamstring heard round the world in August from Urban Meyer to Josh Lambo. A portion of the internet is saying that Shad Khan was waiting for a reason for cause to fire Urban Meyer. All the other stuff, he wasn't able to do such a thing, even though there were maybe not great looks for the franchise, and maybe the locker room has turned against him and he lost everything and the vision isn't the same. This is one that for cause he could do it. Is that what happened, do you think? Are those people right that are saying that? Or is this just an accumulation of fuckery?
Yeah, I mean, my understanding is the conversations started before the Josh Lambo story came to light. Now, it got released yesterday at 4 or something like that, but the Jaguars knew about it earlier in the day, but they had conversations about potentially moving on from Urban Meyer over the weekend. So, it wasn't the thing that made it happen. It definitely wasn't something with okay, well, now that this has come up,
we can move on from him. They were talking about it before. I don't know if it hastened it or if it made it happen yesterday. But I would say if they didn't fire him yesterday, if they didn't fire him last night, more of these things were going to happen. We were going to have more Urban Meyer stories every day, every week, whatever it is, until something happened. I mean, that's one reason why it was probably a smart move for the organization to go, this guy can't lead us anymore. We are done. We are moving on. I do not know for sure right now if they fired him for cause, but I believe they would have had a case in October when he didn't fly home with the team, and then the viral video of him with his non-wife came out as well. So
For
I don't
detrimental?
think
Would that have been conduct detrimental then?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to, yes, it would be hard to lead if you leave your team and then go dance with a person who's not your wife.
No, we agree, but like contracts and with like $30 million on the line, there has to be some real shit, right? That's why everybody at the first time was like, could this be considered conduct detrimental?
Right.
And could conduct detrimental offset like a $30-40 million contract? I think that was
right, and you're going to have a fight regardless, and probably a settlement regardless. But now, I mean, there's no doubt that now, if they do fire him for a cause, their case is stronger.
Got it.
Ian, Josh Lambo, I guess, said that he reported this incident to his agent. His agent contacted the Jags. The Jags said, like, try to have some kind of counseling session. Is this, like, to me, that was surprising to hear a player report something like that. Have you, like, in the past of covering the league, does this happen very often?
Not really. What does happen a little bit is when, like, let's say a coach is going too hard at OTAs or gets his guys to go too hard at OTAs, or guys get injured, or if there's a practice, like the way that they are running practice is not right.
Your player rep will report it probably.
Yes, that you would do that. Go to your own agent and have him talk to the team about being kicked in the hamstring. Honestly, I haven't heard that. That was a new one for me. Now, I will also say this. The wisdom of a coach kicking a kicker in the hamstring is mind-boggling. Like, you know how valuable that stuff is, Pat. Like, why would you mess with, like, punch the guy in the chest or something? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Stay away from your kicker's leg.
I also,
he was lunging, though. That Hammy's right there to kick.
I mean, it's a good target. He's not going to miss. It was big there. But, like, my big thing is it goes all the way, like, respect, right? It feels like Urban Meyer had no respect for a lot of things. His position, the league, his players, but also
his assistants.
Like, his assistants. Like, I don't think he had any respect for anybody, which could potentially happen if you have a God complex where you are the gatekeeper for people's entire futures for so long and have had a lot of success for that, like a college coach has, right? And you control every single minute of people's days, which is why a lot of people say it's hard for college coaches to go to the NFL. I mean, there's a long list of college coaches that have tried to go to the NFL who potentially are similar to the style of the way Saban maybe runs an operation, and they have all failed, basically. Every single one of them have basically failed because you're talking about adults and grown men and a lot of money, and everybody has a football IQ. I don't know if he had any respect for, like, him just calling Lambo kicker and the punter, and, like, there's no respect. But at some point also, somebody's got to say, like, hey, Urban, fuck off. You know, did that ever happen?
A teammate would stand up, don't you think, Pat? Like,
somebody.
Ian, usually a teammate would say, hey, man, this is not right. Like, we're all men here. You can't do that.
Has that not happened? Has that not happened? Did that happen this year or no?
It sounded like on some level there were players sort of confiding in each other and getting together and kind of like being sounding boards, like the Marvin Jones situation for one. It sounded like among the people who kind of brought him back to the fray were his teammates. But I didn't get the sense it was like players sitting down with Urban saying like, you can't treat us like this. But I want to go back to something you said before. Like, these college coaches, like, that is not a normal environment. That's like a cocoon. There's not a lot of access from the outside world. You are the king, so you run everything, which is why, of course, these college guys come to the NFL and they want to run everything because that has been the way it's been. And, you know, now there's the transfer portal, which, you know, some of these controlling coaches think is the worst thing ever. All it really does is give a player a right to be like, I would prefer to be somewhere else. If Urban Meyer mistreated players at Ohio State, where could they have gone? Like, and you know, would a coach have called him and he would have said, you don't want that guy. He can't take he can't take hard coaching.
Yeah, he can't take coaching. It's always a narrative, especially whenever you are the king and the god in that whole thing. And I don't know if this will change Urban. I don't know what Urban does in the future, but his legacy is I mean, no offense, and I don't really care, because college football I'm a fan of. I'd like to see West Virginia do well, and I'll watch the big games and everything. I don't follow the day-to-day. So, whenever I was doing the game day run there, alongside Herbie and everything like that, and he took that shot at me. He took a shot at me basically, and as a representative of College Game Day. When I was losing money going on that show. I wasn't even a part of that show.
Wait, who took a shot at you?
Urban did. It was like a subtle. He said, because the ratings were coming out for their big noon kickoff. It was the same year they were going, and Game Day's ratings were going up, and I don't know. There was an entire ratings battle happening for big noon kickoff.
I remember this. Okay.
Yeah, and Urban told somebody people actually like football talk and not jumping off of boats into lakes or whatever. This whole thing, and it was like, why is this fucking guy talking about me right now? Okay, and there wasn't even a thought in my head not to respond. Okay, there wasn't even I am responding to this situation. It's on the internet. This is good internet. I literally just got done talking to Charles Barkley about this. As a punter, I can't talk shit on a lot of people, but Urban Meyer, I don't fucking give a shit about. If you're going to say something to me, I'm going to talk shit back. So I like that. I like that moment. Then I realized, this dude's a god. All of Ohio started coming at me. TV executives started texting me, from multiple networks. They were like, hey, watch what you're saying about Urban Meyer. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about Urban Meyer. What are we even talking about? But I did build up a massive amount of respect for the following that he had garnered, right? Because he won at Utah, won at Florida, won at Ohio State. Now, every ending was obviously a major controversy, and he's stayed right on cue here with every time he leaves a place. But I built up a respect for how many people got his back. And even though I didn't know him, I was like, okay, a lot of people are telling me hey, Urban, there's no reason Urban didn't mean that or whatever. And then you watch this whole thing unfold in Jacksonville. It's this guy fucking stinks.
Yeah, he's an asshole.
This guy stinks. But if you win games, none of it matters. Nothing matters if you win games in the football world. And I think we all understand that.
Yes, but in college football, you can be a great recruiter, and that's literally all you do. And when he is on, and he's in a living room or whatever, he is a charismatic person. And I could see there were moments in Jacksonville where he was kind of that charismatic guy, and you're like, okay, this is a good leader. But it wasn't leadership. It was salesmanship, right? And the actual leadership was really lacking. And, you're right. In college football, he is considered a god by a lot of people, and he brought programs to really high heights. But isn't that what enabled him to think that this behavior was okay? Isn't that more of the problem than just how he treated a couple? How many other people in college football did he treat like this? But it was okay because if they attacked Urban Meyer, they get people to go, whoa, you better be careful. That is Urban Meyer. You better be careful. I could see how all of this very easily played out over the last 20 years.
Yeah, a monster was built, it seems behind the scenes. But if he would have won, which is going to be a tall task in Jacksonville, remember everybody was saying, hey, Urban don't used to losing. It's well, you think a lot of motherfuckers that make it to the NFL are used to losing, dude? What are we even I don't fully understand that whole thought. But it ended up being a catastrophe. Who knows what's going to happen next? And I'm sure we won't remember this in 6 months, 7 months from now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, definitely not.
Okay, let's move to other stories. COVID protocol. There was no changes yesterday, huh? Other than that you can still activate 2 players. Is that because the NFLPA was never going to allow the COVID protocol to be lightened throughout the season, or is that something the NFL didn't even broach?
It is still being discussed. So the NFL and the NFLPA today now are still discussing what changes to make. I would expect some change today. I thought it would be yesterday, but it has not happened. And there's some reasons why it hasn't happened. The NFLPA came out yesterday and essentially said the leadership on their Twitter feed said they would like daily testing. But then they reached out to some of their NFLPA reps to be like, where do you guys come down? They kind of took the temperature of the reps to say, would you like daily testing? Would you like no testing for asymptomatic, fully vaccinated people? Would you like it somewhere in between? Kind of seemingly gauging, what are we fighting for? And then some of those, we'll see what changes they make. I mean, I feel like it's going to be today because there are games. There is a game tonight There is games, 2 games on Saturday, good games actually. Like there has to be some sort of decision on how to move forward, and it's not like the COVID lists are getting less; they're getting more. So they have to come up with something for so many people who are fully vaccinated, positive, and asymptomatic.
It's a lot, right? It's like 100 people almost at this point. Go ahead, AJ.
Ian, does the Super Bowl is in LA this year? Does the NFL do they have any worry about possible protocols that could come down in LA that would, I don't know, somehow jeopardize the Super Bowl being there? I would assume they have some kind of agreement with the city that, hey, that we can't shut this thing down. Like, but if not, do they have backup sites that they have to think about?
As far as I know, no discussion at all about moving anything. I mean, they haven't even moved Saturday's game. No discussion about moving Saturday's game. There is, as of now, a pretty full slate of events and like parties and other festivities for Super Bowl week. In LA County, and I do not live in LA, but I spend some time talking to people in LA because a lot of my colleagues work there. And the way they explain it to me is people function pretty normally. They just wear a mask inside. And so maybe that's what it will be. The craziest thing about COVID, and there's been so many crazy things over the last 2 years. Craziest thing is it is impossible to predict anything that is going to happen in 2 months, let alone 2 days. Like I got to Dallas for those owners meetings on Tuesday morning, and some guys had tested positive for COVID. And when I left, COVID was the biggest story in the NFL again. It was like 24 hours. So it is very hard to predict, but it sounds like they are planning for a full slate of everything.
Hey, COVID isn't just the biggest story in the NFL, by the way. I think like if Bruce's research is accurate, the New York positive rate has jumped like doubled or something over the last week or so, which hasn't happened since the beginning. And this is happening in the NFL. It's happening all over the place. If you're getting tested, I think more people are finding out that they have it. But allegedly, and we don't know shit about fucking this world. Once again, Ian might, because Ian is a journalist educated. He's got awards behind him and shit like that. AJ and I have a fake bookcase and a fake brick wall. But I think Omicron is a sprinter.
Yeah.
And it's not as it's not as heavy-handed. But how can they know it's a wild time to be alive. Excited to see how everybody figures it out. The NFL will lead the way. Hopefully we hear something today, and hopefully we don't miss out on 100 players that are maybe asymptomatic. And I assume Jerry and all the owners are in there saying, hey, we're paying a lot of money to these fucking guys that aren't sick that can't play this weekend in December football. Is that how this whole thing's going, you think?
The accent I would have some questions with. Mostly because it was
good.
Well, I said Jerry and other owners too. That could have been any owner. That didn't sound like one of the owners, any of them?
I mean, it was most close to Jerry, but I have a...
Did you Sheila Ford Hamp?
Dan Campbell speaks for her, man.
Oh, not anymore. She got booed out of Detroit.
What about Mark Davis?
I could do a Mark Davis.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
No, but I'm not going to.
Go ahead, Klein. Come on, funny man. Come on, funny guy.
Comedian.
I would say this, like, for what I am to comedy, I'm the opposite to impersonation.
Okay, good self-awareness. Yeah, me as well. I do not give it a go. Ty, though, knocks them all out.
But I will say, like, owners, coaches, GMs, I've heard from so many of them who are just like, you know, Dr. Alan Sills called it COVID fatigue. Like, I feel like that's where we are. So many of these guys are like, there's been no on-field transmission. Why can't we play? Why can't these guys play? And the answer is they're not allowed as of now, but honestly, I don't know which way this is going to go.
All right, well, we appreciate you stopping by and keeping us informed. We appreciate the hell out of you. Good luck back in your basement in New Jersey there, and thank you for keeping us informed, pal.
All right, good stuff, guys. Take care.
Oh, no, good stuff by you, dude.
Oh, well, thanks.
Tell a joke.
Hey.
All right.
What's that, Connie? You want to
Yeah, tell a joke. He's a funny guy.
Yeah,
Tell a joke. Make us laugh.
Are you on TV today, or you're not on TV? Today's an off day?
Yeah, off day. Usually it's
league
Tuesday,
meetings are still happening.
Come on.
There's a game
tonight.
We're in the middle of the football season. It's December 16th.
I'll be watching the game tonight. We're gonna go out to a nice family dinner.
Oh.
It's gonna be good. We got a nice night planned.
Okay, well, we appreciate the hell out of you. Thank you for stopping by. Enjoy that family dinner. Hey.
Yeah, I will. It's gonna be good. Thanks,
Applebee's?
What are you going to eat?
Del Frisco's?
Ooh, Applebee's.
Del Frisco's, man.
Applebee's Del Frisco's.
2 for $20.
What do I live in Times Square or something?
Hey, there's that one diner that they're actually arresting people out of in New York if you don't have your vax card. So watch yourself. You're going. Make sure you take your.
I got it.
Okay,
I got
smart.
my stuff
No, take
here.
your card.
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure you take your card.
We in New York. I live in New York, not Jersey. We got a pass, so I flashed the phone.
At Chili's?
But hold on, real quick. I had to use my vaccination card in California, and it was like an ID basically. Like I had to hand it over. There was a couple places that didn't even look at my ID. Like they just looked at that and they're like, "Okay, you're good. What's your name?" Pat. All right.
You know, like, have you not seen my show?
I'm like, I could have
You don't watch me on YouTube?
Yeah, well, no, there's a lot of people out there that do not know who the fuck I am, especially in those potential lobbies I was in. But man, I used to have to really, learn the ID whenever I was out there. I had to learn what my brother's sign was. He's a Leo because I was asked one time with this Vax card. It's like, no, what's your first name? They don't even have tough questions anymore. I felt pretty good about it. But it was my first time using it. Who knows what the future looks like? Maybe that's what Go ahead.
Hold on, I got a question for you. What was the name on your fake ID? I know you had one.
It was my brother's name, Jason.
Oh, what? Okay. That makes sense.
He was smaller than me, though, so that became a problem down in Panama City. One particular bouncer down there at Spinners?
Yep.
Sounds right.
It's like
AJ knows.
It was the biggest bar down there. It was a massive bar down there.
Let's figure this out.
Well, I would. But anyways, I was taller than my brother. Puts X's on my hands, okay? This is with my teammates from college that are all older than me. I was the youngest one. I had my fake ID. Fake ID has never been questioned anywhere, by the way. Never been questioned anywhere. I know the social security number of him. I know his parents. I know everything he has done. It is no problem. They asked me, the size thing, take it, put X's on my hand. He said, you want me to get the cops over here? Cops come over. I put on a performance for who I am. I am Jason McAfee. Make the guy take the X's off my hands. Give me my card back, please. How you doing? Vaccination thing, no questions at all. Just how you doing? And I'm like, all right. I was like, how's this going to go? Because I never had to do it before. That might be life going forward. And it's Spinnakers?
Yeah, the whole chat's yelling that right now.
Fucking great place, dude. It was electrifying. They had an outdoor patio. They had an indoor thing. Yeah, it was awesome. Anyways, Ian, you would never know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Ian Rappaport, thank you. But it was fascinating, like the vaccination.
CYA. It's CYA, man. Cover your ass.
I'm asking your name, Pat.
What's your name? Pat. All right. This is for like a lobby. This is for like a lobby of a hotel. Like, yeah, do you have your... Yeah, here you go. What's your first name? Pat. All right, here you go.
Not even the last name. Just what's your first name? Oh man,
he's good.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, now they're asking people that aren't door people to be.
Well, think about it.
Yeah,
too, though.
true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're, like the person that was asking me for that person never signed up to be an authority ever.
Right.
Hey, I do not want to be the one who is you can't come in here because I have to do somebody else's. So they're
You can check 20,000 people's cards like in depth. What are you gonna make a call to the hotline to see if it's legit?
It's fascinating, dude. But I think that is going to become maybe in some places like going to become the norm. It was much more efficient than I thought it was. I thought it was going to be like a line though, like checking, like that becomes a thing. And it was just like very quick, like, no, come on.
And they're the first. It's like making me think like the person who checked the first, fake ID at the door when they were 21 must have been mind blown too.
Yeah.
It's like, what am I?
Holy shit.
Wait.
What year
What
is
was
it?
Rappaport's fake? I didn't ask him. That's on me. That's bad journalism. Let's get back to a break, huh? Let's get back on the other side.
What do you think his fake name was, actually?
I was excited to hear it.
Did he make it or he had it made for him?
Just McLovin?
There's people that had, we had a guy at West Virginia that everybody kind of went to, and he was doing it in his dorm room. He had such a cool racket. He felt like he was the dude from Breaking Bad in there, too.
Imagine now, though, with 3D printers and all the kids that grow up with computers, I'm sure they can make them that are absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
This dude took his job so serious. I walked in there one time, I didn't need one, but one of my friends did. The line of questioning from this guy, was unbelievable. Made him take a picture against the wall.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, watch how you're looking. Need you to do this. I'm like, holy shit, this dude is running a BMV.
He doesn't want them coming back to him, though. If those guys get their fake taken and somehow link it back to him.
Don't look at my face. You never see me.
Yeah.
That guy
He should have worn a mask the whole time.
That guy might have had 30% of Morgantown at one point.
Damn,
he was
good business.
He was like the Silver Flakes.
Oh yeah.
He was running that operation out of his dorm.
Shiny Flakes.
Shiny Flakes. There it is.
Same difference.
Shiny things, man. Shiny
That
things.
guy got caught.
Huh?
That guy got caught though.
Well, I think this guy probably did too.
Eventually.
I mean, I don't know how he had any time for class with how many questions he was asking.
You didn't watch Breaking Bad, did you?
I seen a couple clips, dude. It was awesome. They were out there in the middle of the desert thing, and that guy died.
Oh man, so many.
And then when you go to that chicken restaurant,
Of course.
yeah. That was a Target shirt I bought. It was good sized, properly
Good fabric.
constructed. And it said Los Pollos or whatever. And I would wear it, and everybody's like, hell yeah, man.
Yeah, Walter
Hell
White.
yeah.
That's right.
I never saw it. I heard it's great, though. I watched that movie they put out, though.
El Camino.
A lot of callbacks, they said. I didn't know much about much.
It does pick up at
Love when you do that.
after the finale of the show. So,
All right.
great show. Hey, dude,
Great
you
show.
got to watch it. You
No, you
have to
don't.
watch
You-
it.
I heard it's awesome. I like
I heard it's awesome too. There's like, how many seasons are there?
7,000. And Jesse is a wild.
I tried
man.
multiple times. I just
You never know what Jesse's going to get.
Oh, yeah,
into.
he's wild, man.
I actually just watched it. I was just kidding. You don't have to watch it, but it is a good show.
Best of all time.
oh boy.
Foxy, you've seen this thing?
Favorite show of all time.
It's also
People
the only
say
show
that.
you've watched.
How many episodes till it picks up a little bit?
5.
Quick.
Some would say
Okay.
10.
I have a lot
AJ
of
just said,
respect
I've
for it.
tried to watch it a lot of times, is what AJ just said. This is like
I
The
wanted
Sopranos
to,
for
I
me.
wanted to watch it. People I respect, a lot of people I have a lot of respect for said you need to watch it. So I'm like, okay, that's how I judge shows. But hey, man, hey, tomato. It's not for everybody.
Hey, I agree completely, and I think you and I are pretty similar on that thing. Like Sopranos is everything that I would like. Everything that I would like. And it's about a person, allegedly, that is actually almost part of the family now.
Yeah.
Old Uncle Jimmy. And everybody said, I just can't, for whatever reason, get into it. And I think it's just me more so than that. Breaking
I
Bad,
like Sopranos. I watched it when it was out. I watched it back in the day, but I liked it.
I saw the final episode. That was crazy.
Yeah. Sopranos, like, it discouraged me because of how long it is. It took me like 2 or 3 times to actually get through Breaking Bad.
That's kind of my thing, huh? I just watched the
Yeah, I get it.
Which is a wild, wild way to live.
Game of Thrones, that last episode.
Oh, yeah. Arya Stark.
Hey, that pissed off dragon, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you knew just as much as everybody that watched every single episode 10 times by watching that one last episode. Nobody knows anything of what's going on in that.
I knew that Starbucks cup meant they were mailing it in. It's a
Yep.
bunch of bullshit.
Not even trying anymore.
All right, we're back in 4 minutes. This is the worst show
Better
of
than
all
a
time.
gun going off.
Jeez.
AJ, that is not cool, dude.
I'd much rather them leave a
on.
Starbucks. What do you mean? I'm looking out for the poor family.
That's
You kidding
not
me?
cool.
It's a terrible mistake.
You say a lot of things
Thank you,
that
AJ.
cross the line.
I'm saying if there's different levels of mistake.
You're right.
Yeah, I'll
Put it on
say.
your list.
Yeah.
All right.
Go to hell.
We'll be back in 4
Are all
minutes.
sins the same?
No.
I love the man or woman, hate the sin.
Yeah, they're all deadly.
All right, let's get back. Let's get back in 4 minutes and get back on track. All right, we'll talk
Yeah,
sports.
come on, man. Bring it in, dial it in, guys. We'll be back after that.
All right, see you then, dude.
Hell of a machine.
310J, dude.
Oh, top of the line.
That's when they were singing about being sexy.
That's right.
The 310J, when somebody saw it, they're like, that's sexy, and he was like, the country
Yeah,
music,
you're right, it is.
She thinks my tractor's sexy. Oh, look at that.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Hey, that's got a good cockpit in there.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like the Pope Mobile with all the glass around the top there, but it ain't no Pope Mobile because this one's fucking breaking grind. Hell yeah.
Party in the front, business in the back, am I right?
Well, I do believe we got business,
Business
all
on both
sides.
ends.
That's right.
Yeah, the plot down there in the front is, although a good time. It is a good time to get that thing going.
Fun.
Business is being handled, dude.
Everyone's getting plotted.
And then on the back, on the backside, you know, whenever you start cracking earth,
Oh, yeah.
oh my
You
god!
need the excavator back there, the big dog.
And you know the thing about the seat on this 310J, it turns.
Yeah.
It does.
So it's always in the front. You know, whatever you're working on, business can be on the front, both sides.
That's right.
Controls all around.
We worried about those front tires?
No, not at all.
That's how they roll.
No, they survive anything.
Those are standard Deere backhoe tires.
Look at the back
Someone like you
tires,
might be worried
Foxy. Yeah, exactly. Foxy.
I am just asking questions.
Foxy, it ain't about the front wheels. It's always about the back.
That's right.
All right, because these rear wheel powered vehicles that you would never
Yeah,
understand.
you don't know anything about that, Foxy.
You have no
I
idea.
would not know.
Wake up.
I got friends that know. I don't know.
Listen, when you're drifting gears, okay, on a rear wheel, especially if they're 600 some ponies,
What?
you got to watch for like any, you know, plot holes or debris.
Of course.
Because you can and then hit a tree. Because the back end kicks out. And then you won't drive that car ever again. Because how are you not supposed to drift it? And I guess, how are you not supposed to hit another tree?
Yeah.
Right.
That's my life. Doesn't have to be yours, though. Thank you, Andrew, for calling from the 310J. That's a beautiful piece of machinery.
It is.
Gorgeous.
Take that thing another round. Oh, look at that thing prop itself up.
Lift
Yeah.
kit.
That's why the wheels don't matter in the front, pal.
Yeah.
That opening kickoff in that Super Bowl you're referring to with the Colts, Hester takes to the crib. You having a little bit of a heart attack there?
Very bad decision, Pat, on my part. All week up in Indy, we're practicing, and we know he's their number one threat. They don't have a lot of offensive weaponry. They win with defense and special team. So for the whole week, we're in Indy. We're not going to let him touch the ball. We practice squibbing to the corners, bouncing the ball, high kick, pop-up kickoff, punt it out of bounds, everything to not let him touch the ball. We have a chapel service, and the chaplain talks about David and Goliath, and he says, hey, the reason David beat Goliath, he wasn't afraid. Everybody else was afraid. David ran right at him, threw it right between the eyes, and it was over. And I started thinking, we're acting like we're afraid of Devin Hester. So I told the team on Saturday night, I hope we lose the toss. We're going to kick off. We're going to kick it right down the middle. When we pound him, they'll know we mean business. It's going to be over. We kicked it to him. 12 seconds later, he's in the other end. Sideline, looking at me saying, what idiot decided to kick the ball to Devin Hester? But fortunately, the last 59 minutes, the team made up for it.
Wait until they see the tone we set on the opening kickoff.
Yeah, that was it.
I bet you Vinatieri was sitting there.
I don't know if that's such a good idea.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here on Let's Get Hot Super Boost. Thursday Night Football, Thursday, December 16th. Woo! How do you feel about it, AJ? You like it?
You clown, dude.
You don't know shit
This
anyways.
dude's unbelievable.
No brainer. Love it. Love it, guys.
Zito, while we were burying him for being muted, Zito's pointing at himself. This is my fault. This is my fault.
Oh, I was muted. That's why you guys were responding like that.
Yeah, we couldn't hear a word you were saying. We thought you potentially hit a button, but it was us. Zito still balancing and spinning plates back there as Nick and Mitt remain in their
Don't be sorry, Zeke. I see you running back and forth all day long.
Hey, Nick and Mitt, we hope you're okay, bud.
Good luck, boys.
Thank you, guys.
Love you, boys.
By the way, shout out to this office for once again not having an overall outbreak whenever something happens. It's because we socially distance naturally.
Yep.
The office is big enough, and we've really handled this thing, I think, above average.
Yeah, people will forget that in the long run, but it'll be nice to look back on it as a group and say, we battled through multiple bouts, and we were safe.
No, give Dan Patrick Show the Emmy first.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
or
maybe-
Chuck.
What's the one that doctors get?
PhDs.
We should get PhDs.
Pulitzer?
Are you talking about a Nobel Peace Prize?
There it is.
All right, maybe.
Pulitzer.
Yeah, Cosby got a PhD from Temple.
All right, he just checked another
DJ
one.
loves Bill Cosby.
Yeah,
how do you?
Well, no, I'm saying
like
you're talking
he
about
doesn't,
honorary.
but-
You're going to give out honorary PhDs. Okay.
So I often wondered, what's the donation amount to get a doctorate? Because if everybody has to call me doc, that is so sweet.
I think you just got to donate a wing.
A wing to
a medical.
I was gonna say
center?
it depends. 100K might get you a fucking honorary doctor.
And listen, that is completely disrespectful to people that actually furthered their education. And I understand. I think there is a reason for college. Okay, if you're going to be a lawyer or a doctor or something that you have to get highly educated and read through all of the shit to get there, I think it is very important. I think that is awesome. But boy, there's a lot of those degrees around there that don't mean a damn thing other than you accomplish 4 years of focusing on a goal and making it happen while that whole thing happens. So I don't want to, I don't want to shit on the college and, furthering your education as a whole. Even though people go into debt that are going to end up getting jobs that they won't be able to pay off that debt for years and years and years. And somehow the school can continue to raise the prices of said information that they're going to give to you to put you in debt forever so you can't get a job that'll pay it off. I think there was a conversation to be had, about all of that. But the top ones, I think
Mike Rowe does a show about exactly what you're talking about.
I didn't know that. Mike Rowe, the Dirty Jobs guy?
Dirty Jobs?
He does a show. I've seen clips of it where he goes and showcases people learning a trade, instead of going to college.
Yeah. So then you can kind of do your thing, and all that. But if I could just donate a certain amount of cash and become a doctor, I'm going to do it. So
You gave like $1 million to multiple children's hospitals. They should that seems to be enough.
I don't think children's hospitals can just say, you're a doctor now.
Why not?
I think they can.
Why not?
Yes, they can.
By the way, I don't want to be a doctor. People spend like 10 years, 12 years earning that
Long
thing.
time.
And then
Not all of them.
Well, that happened in West Virginia, actually. There was a potential politician whose, family relative ended up with a doctorate and was never around or whatever.
Who?
No, I ain't saying that. I don't know if it's true or not. Somebody can Google it.
Oh, potential.
Yeah, potentially. People say that I say potentially a lot. That's because I have no idea if any of these are absolutes, the things that are coming out of my mouth. So I have to make sure there is the CYA of potentially and allegedly this is happening, just in case, in the end. And although it is word mumbo jumbo when it's coming out, and I want to let you know, my brain also is like, we don't know if that's true or not. We don't know if that's true or not. I think we do try to stay as fair as possible. AJ, we try to stay as fair as possible.
Very, very fair. But it reminds me, the guy from Tiger King, Doc Antle, a doctor.
Yep.
Who gave him that?
Doc Antle.
Bhagavan? I thought the animals gave him that.
Oh, you just got to get around some more. Oh, maybe the possums and all those guys could get too.
They would give the wife a doctorate, not me. I don't think. I was more of a detriment to those animals than a benefit.
Doctor of
benefactor.
nature.
Nah, maybe they start seeing you as colonel.
Yeah.
Fearing you because they know that you'll put a bullet in their head if they.
Well, I don't want the colonel title. No, that's, and I would not. By the way,
What about Lord?
I don't know that.
What's that?
You just
about
kick
Lord?
him
Well, that'd
through
be
the wall.
Sam. Sam would be Lord because she did give Fruity Pebbles and numerous other very delicious things that could have been cool in the house. Outside the house, the raccoons and opossums.
Lord, bestow us with your gifts.
Please.
Yeah, they did stare at that window that the food came from. And we're like, the God behind this see-through thing delivers the most delightful and filling treats every single night.
Yeah, just wait here. Telling their friends and shit.
They did. The
Oh, yeah.
crowd did grow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. If I was those guys, I wouldn't tell my friends.
Well, raccoons are dumb.
Yeah.
Plus, when the possum enters their house, like, hey, give me all your food.
So the possums and the raccoons got along.
Yeah.
They actually did get along, which is pretty fascinating.
Night creatures.
Became friends.
The fox was coming around. I thought the fox was going to get in the hen house with the raccoon.
Uh-huh. Fox in the hand, though.
Yeah, the fox was eating different things, though. Anyway, so let's get to football. What's that?
No, I thought that was good. I know you're going to tie it back into football now.
Well, I don't know how I'm going to. I'm just going to start talking about it because this is what everybody else does that hosts show, by the way. I did try to get better as a show host. I'm like, how do other people transition? They literally just stop the conversation and go to a new subject.
Yeah.
And I just don't have the ability to do that yet, even though it is a thing to do. I feel uncomfortable to the viewer, like, hey, I want to let you know, like, this conversation's over. Let's move to the next one. For instance, is Mark Davis old Hezbollah? And when I say that, I mean this. Hezbollah, everything Hezbollah does, I love. Everything he does, I love. The other day, he was spraying water out of a fire hose, and then somebody came over to film him, and he turned and shot the person and laughed maniacally afterwards. And I thought it was the most awesome. The more Hezbollah, the better for me. Anytime I see him, I'm happy. I'm starting to realize Mark Davis has a very similar effect.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime I see Mark Davis, I'm stopping what I'm doing, I am stopping the scrolling, and I am listening to him speak. Whether it's him with a backpack and a starter jacket sitting in a high back chair at the owners' meetings, coming fresh out of the one per club meeting, with every camera shooting down with him, his backpack is up above his head, and his hair obviously looks magnificent, and he gives an answer that is completely opposite of what every other owner is saying. I'm like, I fucking love this dude. When he tells the media, I'm going to dinner, and then just walks away. I love this dude. And now he's speaking about the entire thing, and there's more interviews coming out from the league meetings, I believe. Ladies and gentlemen, not new, but a person that is an immediate stop on the internet when you see his face and him speaking, Mark Davis.
This year, in this short amount of time, we have been awarded the Pro Bowl,
What?
the NFL Draft, and now the biggest prize of all, the Super Bowl. And I'm just excited as all hell for the Raider organization and Raider Nation and Las Vegas and the state of Nevada as a whole. When you're not winning on the field, it's kind of nice to win off it sometimes. And today is a huge, huge win for all of us.
Hey, congrats, Mark.
Yeah, boy, Mark. You did it.
Look at the bright side, Mark. I like it.
Yeah, that's why I think I love Mark. You know, he's awesome. He's building a house out there. He's dealing with the IRS in the background. He's got a coach that's been fired middle of the season, has no idea what the future is going to look like for the team, doesn't have a quarterback on a long-term contract, which is the most important thing. And he's in a brand new city, Las Vegas, which is falling in love with the Raiders, I think, more and more every single day. Mark Davis will figure it out, and anytime Mark Davis speaks, I will listen. So congrats to Vegas getting a Super Bowl, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good job, Vegas. It's going to be a great spot for the Super Bowl. Also, he had to cut 2 first-rounders, too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
for off-the-field reasons. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, like, there is mass chaos in the Raiders organization, which I'm sure they're used to a little bit, but this seems like a lot.
Mark Davis stopping by UFC fights, building his home, you know, dealing with it all. Hey, this is just another day as a Raiders owner, man.
That's right.
Just kind of moving along, doing his thing. And this is a hack joke, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's a low-hanging topic. What is the hair?
Doesn't make sense.
The one picture you cut to, you really got a good feel for it.
When he was smiling and it was a straight-on shot right there. I mean, he does have a great
He's
line.
just efficient. Maybe he's really efficient. He's like, I don't want to be messing with, like, moving my hair out of my face, out of my eyes sometimes.
Oh, I respect that. And
So
I'm
take
somebody
them bangs way up.
I'm somebody that looks like an asshole. Okay, I understand that. The way
We
I
all do.
Yeah, but I do wonder about, like, when did this happen? For instance, there was a day I wasn't going to wear a tank top on this show, and I was going to, you know, maybe start changing what I was wearing, and then all of a sudden, Stephen A. is upset about me wearing the tank top. Gives a lot of compliments, but he says, man, what is the tank top? You know, and I love Stephen A. I was like, oh, well, now I have to wear a tank top every single day for the entirety or whatever, just because, you know, even though I respect the hell out of Stephen A. and I'm a fan of Stephen A., like that being a thing, and not only Stephen A., I assume other people's minds, I'm like, oh, all right, so I'm doing this every fucking day. That is what I'm going to do. I wonder if that's what Mark Davis is. Like, hey, everybody my entire life has told me this haircut is the worst haircut that they've ever seen on anybody that has a successful position in the world, you know, maybe even unsuccessful position in the world.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm fucking sticking with it because I'm Mark Davis and you're not. And I love that even more about this guy.
Yeah, but shouldn't someone tell him, like, looking like a friar from 1410 is kind of like past the point of anybody really a friar?
What's a friar?
Town friar.
Yeah, the town friar. It's like
the town crier.
No, yeah, that's one thing. Town friars, like
the Providence Friars.
a religious person. Yes, someone who is in religion is a friar. It's definitely a specific religion, but I could not come up with that
So
one.
it's like a male nun?
Yeah, kind of. Like if Z pulls up a picture of a friar, that'll be the haircut on him.
It's his calling card now, though. He can't cut it now.
Exactly.
He's got a little hang time in the back, too. It looks
Bro,
like
he is the coolest guy of all time.
Hey, what if that's a rug? What if it's not even real?
No way. That's
Then, I'm even more impressed by this guy.
He'd choose a different
He
route.
goes in everywhere. People think he's a doofus. He's a silver-tongued devil. Guess what? The Super Bowl's going to Vegas, and you just got Kansas City shuffled, and you don't know what's going on because you're just looking at his hair the whole time.
You're right. And Mark Davis was definitely a part of the vote that any new stadium gets a Super Bowl within 5 years.
Yeah, but also, you know, he's
Mark
in there.
Davis.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's walking in there saying, hey, guys, let's talk about it. This is my new house. This is the team we got. The Raiders fan base is one of the most loyal. The Davis family is iconic, obviously.
Is he the only one? Is there another one? Does he have any siblings?
I think he's the only one, yeah. I think. I'm not sure. I don't know enough about him.
We looked up the other day when we were talking. I looked up the other day when we were talking about it. He's the only one.
Is there an heir to the?
Just like I don't know
Al
enough.
Davis only had one kid?
So folks on football, dude.
Yeah.
You're right. Okay.
But just like Hasbulla, I'm learning more and more about every day, and I'm liking. Mark Davis, same thing here, I think, as we're covering football. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
Zeke sent a video in too of him having sweet shades on, and he takes them off, and he's walking up to a podium. And he's like, what's up, guys?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
I love
He's usually wearing white on white. White jeans, white jacket, usually.
this.
Oh, my goodness.
Let it eat. Do we have the sound on?
Can we get him on sometime?
What's up, guys?
Legend.
Hey, at least he's relatable, though. I think he's much more relatable than every other owner, it seems like.
Bro, absolutely. No. Let's talk about another owner who made an incredible appearance on Hard Knocks last night.
You're right.
Jim Irsay is coolest dude in town.
Yeah.
Anytime, coolest dude in town. Obviously comes from, they kind of shared his story a little bit last night on Hard Knocks, which was a good idea for the bye week. I absolutely loved it. He was singing, knocking on heaven's door, brother. absolutely killing it. I'd like to know a little bit more about this guy who's been traveling around playing on the Washington Monument in Nashville and everything like that with the Jim Irsay band and the Jim Irsay collection. But he's the coolest. Hour 3's on the other side. He is the coolest, dude. This guy is the coolest owner in all of sports. And second is a long way down.
Yeah, showing like when he was younger too, like right after I think he was like the GM, he was doing some interview on the couch somewhere. It was crazy to see him then compared to now.
They told the story of his dad was a interesting guy. He was an owner of the Colts, obviously, and he was pretty fiery. I believe everybody knows the guy loved the booze. Like, so much so that he was addicted to it. His body couldn't react without it, and it made him make decisions, I think, publicly that weren't necessarily like, oh, this guy's a good guy. And Jim is obviously his son, and Jim has had his own demons throughout his life, although vastly different than the ones his dad did in the way he handled him much differently. But he is directly associated with his dad, and in Baltimore, there's still people that hate Jim Irsay because of what Jim's dad did, and there's people that think Jim's a fucking asshole because of what his dad did. Last night, it was very cool getting to see, like, Jim has literally been around the team forever. He always talks about when he was, picking up jocks and cleaning socks and he would list off like the 53rd person on the roster of the Colts whenever he was like 14, 15, 16 years old. And a story was told last night by Kaylin, his youngest daughter, about how one night he fired Robert Irsay, his dad, whenever Jim was 16, fired the Colts coach after a preseason game in front of the entire team and like went on this entire thing. And it was like obviously not accepted in that positive a light by the entire team. And they got on a bus to leave that preseason game. And Jim wanted to go say sorry to the players. And I guess he got on the bus. This is the story Kaylin told last night. And he couldn't even really talk. He just started crying. And he said he felt so bad for all the players who were like his brothers, because I think he's an only child, and I don't know if his dad was around that much, And although he had a bunch of money, I think Jim literally saw the locker room as like his family growing up. He always talks about it. That's why he loves football so much. And then he became friends with like rock stars, and that kind of led into the entire thing for who he is now. It's just like last night was a dope time getting a chance to celebrate Jim a little bit, because that is not the normal conversation that revolves around Jim Irsay on the national narrative, even though I got a chance to experience an absolute legend this fucking guy is.
I think from watching him and watching when you talk to him and seeing everything, you could tell like he absolutely cares about the guys. Like he cares about the coaches, he cares about everybody working there, and he takes a lot of pride in being the owner of the Colts. I think that's cool to see. A lot of times some owners may come across like, oh, it's just a business thing for them. But I feel like Irsay, he's got all that cash, but he truly cares about the individuals, it's kind of rare, I think.
Big kick of the garbage can in his suite when bad things happen. I got a chance to go into his suite, and it's double isolated in there, whatever the reason is. Whatever the reason.
What do you mean double isolated? What do you mean?
It's got some thick walls, man. It's got some real thick walls, and it's in its own little. It was awesome. I walked into a completely different world in that stadium. Not as big as I thought it would be. It was a little bit smaller than I thought. And I asked why, I'm like, is he smoking in there? Is that what's going on? Is that why he's got to do that? And they're like, no, of course he wouldn't do that. And I still didn't feel like I got a genuine answer there or not.
Sure.
But I guess he gets very fucking pissed. Like if things are not going, I guess he rides the wave of the game, like in there, and he
That's awesome.
Yeah, and he isolates it. He's like glassed in so that other people, because he's right on the 50, so there's like press near him. He's like, there's a bunch of people near him. And I guess they like actually thought about that. Like, hey, Jim, when you're watching a game, you get like, you get pretty animated. We can't have people, like hearing the owner say, get him the fuck off the field. He is all the way when he's all the way invested in the Colts, it is when the Colts are at their best. And it feels like Hard Knocks right now is showcasing that he's all in. I absolutely love that guy.
Does he ever sing with James Dolan, the Knicks owner?
I'm not sure their relationship.
That guy kills it. Have you ever seen him?
No, does he really?
He's got a hell of a band. Yeah, he's a good singer.
So I got a chance to see a video of a performance that Jim Irsay's band did down in Austin. Hey, they got a jam band. I mean, that thing is. They were shredding too on this guitar. I feel like this is something he's always wanted to do, and he's finally got to the point in his life where he's like, I'm gonna do it. Like I'm gonna go ahead and do it. And I think it's probably because of some of the people that are around him. Shout out to probably Gorms and this entire thing. He seems to be living his best life, and I'm happy and hoping that his legacy will be remembered from this than everything else because I'm very thankful for the guy. But Hard Knocks was awesome. All right, hour 3 is on the other side. We got Michael Lombardi joining us in there. We'll talk more about everything happening around the NFL, and we'll take your phone calls on the 5 Hour Energy phone line, 1-833-4McAfee. We'll see you in 1 minute.
The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat
What the fuck are
McAfee
you
Show
doing?
starts in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to Let's Get High, Super Boost. Thursday Night Football, Thursday, December 16th, 2021. Hour 3 shall commence now.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. Can't thank you enough. AJ Hawk coming to us live from an attic in Ohio. To my left, your right. Tone Diggs, one half of the Hammer Dahn Cowboys. Tone, can you tell us and lead off this hour with a little conversation about tonight's game? Spread. Where is the public at? Who should we be betting on? And why is this Super Boost a goddamn lock this evening in Los Angeles?
Obviously, as you see right there, the spread is 3. The total's 52.5. That's gone up 2 points this morning. I believe it was at 50 this morning. So people are expecting points indoors, which is great for the Super Boost. I didn't realize that it was indoors. For some reason, I thought it was in KC today. It's even better that it's indoors. Chargers let up like 5 touchdown passes to Ben inside. So, I mean, Mahomes inside we should be feeling pretty good.
Hey, that turf's a little faster, huh? Inside, you all know that even on the defensive side of the ball, AJ, whenever you have that turf, it's just something about it. What is it? Is it the temperature? Is it the actual surface? What do you think it is?
It's how fast you can kind of get in and out of your brakes when you wear cleats on field turf. It sticks so good, like you're not chunking up any grass. So those edge rushers too, Bosa, those guys probably feel a lot quicker and more explosive too, coming off the edge when you're on that turf.
Oh, so that's not necessarily great for the high points, but it feels like when you have the fastest guy on the football field, and he's on the fastest turf in football.
What?
Yeah.
Tyreek maybe scores some touchdowns tonight, huh?
I think so.
That's a safe guess.
I think so.
What do you think? You think because he didn't score last week? Is that
Yeah, you typically Tyreek, gets 1 or 2 when he doesn't score. Last time they played the Raiders indoors in Las Vegas, he had 3 touchdowns, 2 in the first half. So I think it's boding very, very well. And to Diggs and AJ's point about the turf not, catching, so these pass rushers might have a little bit better of a day. Frank Clark for the Chiefs on a backup left tackle. He might be flying around that corner. Turnover, maybe. Maybe a turnover. Maybe then, short field for the Chiefs, maybe. Tyreek, maybe Travis Kelce, who got his swagger back, I believe.
Hey, Andy, let's do a lot of these, too. I wouldn't mind these, too, to be just the short little bullshit.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
It would be cool if we won a Super Boost because of some bullshit, as opposed to when we lost the same game parlay because the kneel down. What if we won because of the fuckery?
Yeah, like the one to Josh Gordon they did last week. That was just an easy little 1 yard, bang, bang, touchdown.
Let's keep doing those.
Yeah. Simple.
Andy, let's keep doing those. Let's keep
So just one touchdown in the first, 1 in the second, and you win, right?
He has to throw one, yeah.
Why did I say 1+? That means if 1 and 1 is not a push, is it?
Well, listen, that was, believe me, I want to let you know. I ask questions as well. This is the official listing, though, on the FanDuel book for whatever.
It's because if they list it as to throw 1 touchdown each half, if he threw 2 in each half, you would lose. So it's 1+.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
It's all in the details. It's all in the
right.
details.
That's exactly right.
Especially in this game of us versus them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We need to take every dollar they have. Plus 170 is good.
Tasty. Tasty.
All right, let's talk about some other stuff that's going on around the NFL. Did you see what Bills Mafia did? Bills Mafia has donated $18,000 in 24 hours to an organization that helps visually impaired people because of the blown calls against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I saw a couple Bills Mafia people tweet me this exact picture Sunday and Monday saying that actually it's fun that the Buccaneers decided to water ski behind the Bills all night. They're talking about it. Obviously blatant bullshit missed call. And it was as soon as it happened. I started getting this picture sent to me immediately from everybody like, oh, the refs are trying to get Tom Brady to win. The refs are trying to do this. But Bills Mafia, they thanked, I think,
It was Dalton.
Yeah, Andy Dalton in Cincinnati for getting them into the playoffs by raising money for his charity. They've done this like 4 or 5 different times. Bills Mafia is fucking awesome, and I love this. Now, obviously on the internet, there's going to be, oh, this money, I'm sure it's going to the right place or whatever. It's like the idea is incredible. Yeah. I love it, and shout out to Bills Mafia for getting fucked and for making it so obvious by doing something this great that we have to talk about you getting fucked. It's good strategery by the Bills Mafia.
Oh, it's great strategery, as you say, but I feel like now that this has gone kind of nationally public, I feel like they're going to, they should at least double that, don't you think? People will, this is cool. I want to be in on that. If you're a Bills Mafia member, you're like, I want to at least be a part of this.
Oh, you're talking about a little philanthropic wave here.
Yeah, even other fans. Like I assume there's a lot of fan bases who have a couple gripes with the referees. They might jump in too.
Oh, so you think Bills Mafia had, whoever founded this and started this had the grand vision that, hey, listen, if you hate the refs, this is a very good way to feel good about yourself around the holiday. You're giving back. And also, the bigger this gets, the bigger the conversation is about these refs potentially needing either a new gig, new job, or new eyes.
Yeah. Maybe some glasses, perhaps, contacts, contact solution.
More positive attention to Bills Mafia, like more and more attention to what they do pregame, postgame, during the game. It just all adds to it.
I think, you put a dome over that stadium over there. You let the Bills Mafia do their thing outside in the parking lot. Have them come inside and put on a show in 70 and sunny as well. Could only get better.
They don't want that. The Bills Mafia fans, they don't want that.
I think this current Bills team would love that.
Yeah, after that windy game.
The Bills team.
The fans.
I know Bills Mafia would not, okay?
You can't throw dildos indoors. You know that.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can.
Why not?
Says who? I think it's a little tougher.
Well, the issue is if you're not vaccinated, you got to have a mask on because if a dildo comes flying in with COVID, it will hit you right in the mouth. You know what I mean?
What if it chipped your tooth? That'd be awful. Oh, hit you out of nowhere, boom.
Hey, how'd that happen?
And you got COVID.
I would just say I got punched. Some dude punched me in the face.
Yeah, a shark. It's actually a shark. A shark got me.
The right ball of a dildo chipped my right tooth. My right front tooth.
It's not even the worst part. I got COVID. I couldn't test negative for 11 days.
No.
I missed playoffs. I missed the damn playoffs.
Oh yeah, it's in a player. Okay.
Hey, Case Keenum. He's playing on Saturday because Baker Mayfield has tested positive for COVID, and who knows if he'll be able to have 2 negatives or not. Case Keenum, quarterback for the Cleveland Browns currently, with Alex Van Pelt calling the plays, I believe.
Yeah.
Alex Van Pelt with Stefanski also out, who is fully vaccinated and boosted and had COVID before on the COVID reserve list. He is out allegedly for the game on Saturday. All systems go for the game to still happen on Saturday. Case Keenum says, hey, it's good news Nick Chubb's back here.
Oh, yeah.
And there's been a lot of interesting things said about Baker Mayfield this season, and Cameron Justice put out the tweet that Browns Case Keenum on the opportunity to play with Nick Chubb, having a full Chubb back there is going to be real good.
Yeah.
I wonder how many full Chubbs are around Cleveland having a full Nick Chubb back in the backfield for the Cleveland Browns. There's a lot of people on the internet saying that Baker Mayfield, Case Keenum.
Spider-Man meme.
One and the same.
Who's saying that?
Well, Diggs said it very loudly in the office earlier this week, and then I checked the internet. He's not the only one. This goes all the way back to the ever-happening Baker Mayfield polarizing conversation that happens on the internet. But if Nick Chubb is back and Hunt's there, and I know Hooper's out, Hunt's not in?
I think he's
Hunt's not in. But if Chubb's back, who is top in the NFL, top 5 rusher in the NFL, and he's missed like 2-3 games or whatever. If he's back, Austin Hooper's out, which is a problem because he is a road grader or whatever. Maybe he's back. But if you're just handing the ball off to Chubb and they know going in, like, hey, we're only going to be running the rock here, that has to be very nice for Case Keenum. And what if they win? What if they continue to go on there? That Baker Mayfield conversation is only going to get louder and louder and louder.
I'm disappointed that Case doesn't get to show off with a fully healthy Chubb and Jarvis, and I believe they have 2 O-linemen out and Austin Hooper. So
Njoku.
No expectations, though.
Correct.
He goes in with no expectations. People aren't expecting him to win in that kind of situation. So, hey, maybe he can just let it go.
Well, I don't think they're going to have him let it go there, right? They're going to hand that thing off to
He's going to have
Chubb.
to throw at some point, though. He's going to have to make some big-time throws in some big-time moments.
I saw Mac Jones throw it 3 times.
That's right.
I'm joking.
What's the weather look like?
I'm joking.
D'Ernest Johnson, too. I mean, we saw it the last time Case
30.
Yeah.
He's a guy.
Yeah, he's
And
unbelievable.
credit for the creative comment he gave to the media, too.
Which one?
What's that? What are you
The Chubb one.
I don't think he meant to do that. I don't think he meant to do like the, I got a, little Chubb. Yeah, I don't think so. Case Keenum, he was the one that threw the Minneapolis Miracle.
Yes.
Yeah.
He said that this would be third in line of the day he found Jesus, the day he got married, and then this day. That was immediately afterward. That was immediately afterward. So I don't think
Kind of like Diggs. Like Diggs is 3 Fs or 5
faith,
Fs.
family, football, his job, and his gambling record. But that has been changed because he moved Jesus out.
Yeah.
Just 4.
5th is now weather, which it is going to be a little rainy, a little cold, a little windy.
On Saturday. A lot of Chubb coming. But what I'm going back to, maybe Case made the Chubb reference for like the child that you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you didn't think, I instantly was like, all right, here we go. He's going to have a good game.
Because he said he's talking about Chubbs and such.
He's excited. He's feeling loose. He's got jokes.
I think that was just like,
But if you said that, wouldn't you instantly go, oh, yeah, okay, there we go.
yeah,
Like,
me
I
and
would
you,
laugh at
yes. But immediately after throwing the Minneapolis Miracle and shutting down the NFL, I don't know if me and you were saying, like
disciple of Christ.
Yeah, thank you. I don't think me and you and people.
You don't know about it. You don't know what I would say.
I mean, maybe you would. You've probably been in that situation so many times, so you've probably had to practice.
Against the Saints.
I don't know.
I would not have 3 things. I would not have
You
a
made that tackle
list.
I would not immediately after that be like, best day of my life, day I found Jesus. I wish I did. I wish I would. I wish I would be that much in. And then once again, this is not a knock on Case Keenum or any of the religious folks. That is just, I was not created in that fashion to have that way. But what I'm saying is, I don't think Case Keenum's making Chubb jokes. I honestly don't think.
Right.
Maybe he is.
Yeah, and unless he legitimately found Jesus and found him in a cave somewhere where they were, and then they hung out for a couple hours and shot the shit, then it would be crazy to put that as your number 1.
That's not what they mean whenever they say they found Jesus. They actually
That is not what I'm saying, unless that is what happens, because maybe who knows what he was experiencing. Or
if you met David Koresh, right? Didn't he say he was Jesus?
He was Jesus.
Yeah.
He didn't find him.
no.
I am Jesus.
Yeah,
That's
but
what
they
he's
were
talking about.
Davidians.
That's
I don't
right.
think these are Cassinians.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Fair.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Jackson Mahomes tried to cancel a bar called SOT in Kansas City because conflicting reports on what happened and how it happened. Jackson Mahomes had a large group, SOT initially stated, and they apologized in an incredible fashion yesterday. Because Jackson Mahomes went online and said that SOT basically bad place, don't do
Service
business.
stinks.
Burn it down.
Burn it down.
Did they kick him out?
So, dear Jackson Mahomes, this is the initial response from SOT, the boutique bar.
Yes.
The boutique bar, which has an incredible cult following, by the way. They have 6,300 followers on their Instagram. They're very active on there. I think they are a place in Kansas City. I think this is I think this is a to-do. Dear Jackson Mahomes, we are sorry that we set boundaries that you tried to ignore. Oftentimes, people with unearned status and a sense of entitlement think they are above the rules and will lash out at the employee enforcing them. We are sorry we could not seat your very large group. As you probably saw, our bar is very small. We are sorry that you have the reach that you do, or at least that you think you do, and that instead of using it for something positive, you decided to use it to try and crush a small business. We survived a global pandemic. We'll survive your ego, okay? We are sorry you didn't reach out to us first before taking to social media, but then again, that is an expectation we would have from a mature and rational person, not someone who pours water on fans and dances on the memorials of tragically lost people people for TikTok clout. We have not been fortunate enough to be born into a much more talented and much more famous family, but we would like to think that if we did have that much luck, we would use our influence in more responsible ways. We hope our apology finds you well.
Got him.
Awesome.
That's how an apology should be.
Awesome. Okay,
they hit everything, didn't they? They went down the line.
Okay, awesome response, and I think probably picked up a lot more. People
now those people that the cult following they had are even that much tighter with them.
I think so too. I thought so too, and it's great marketing for SOT. By the way, a lot of people are learning of this place. Their response is epic, but that means that somebody in that building and around Kansas City probably as a whole, if this is one of the places, like, hey, we're sick of this fucking Jackson guy. So when this happens, boom, here we go. But. You heard that whole message right there. What was our response? Oh, that's awesome. Like, hey, that is. By the way, there's been times where I've been like, oh, this bar stinks. If the bar would have dunked on me in this fashion, I would have been like, hey, fair play.
Yeah, that's all.
Fair play to you. Fair play to you. You got to do what you got to do. SOT has come out in response again with another photo. It's on their Instagram if we can get there. I don't know if we can get there. They came out with another response today, and they apologized for the way they apologized to Jackson Mahomes yesterday. That's not what they're about. They're about bringing people together, not doing that in the reaction. So, I mean, there is just now.
Did the TikTok crowd come after him hard? Is that why?
I don't know. And I would like a lot of people were saying maybe Patrick Mahomes said something or.
Or maybe this was done by a manager or whatever, put it out, and whoever the owner is, okay, we got to back off a little.
And by the way, it doesn't seem like their style would be to dunk on people from scrolling through their Instagram.
Is that a picture of their inside the place?
Yeah.
Jeez, it looks very nice.
Very nice. By the way, I was scrolling through their entire Instagram after seeing this because I was like, they really put this out? That's awesome. I'd like to go check it. And then I went there. They had erased the first one, and they only had the second one I read. I was like, oh, this is the complete opposite of what they did yesterday. They hit both angles. They apologized in a beautiful fashion. They laid it all out about how we want to bring people together and be this type of community that's welcoming, and we apologize for whatever and how we responded, which, by the way, I respect. I understand that could be an answer that a restaurant would give to somebody like Jackson Mahomes, but they hit this one out of the park, the apology, the actual apology, and I would like to let them know that although they deleted it, you guys fucking nailed the burial as well. That was great interview.
They know it too. They know they nailed the first one, but whoever at the top or whatever just wanted to take it down for some reason.
Okay, well, respect for both answers being home runs. Both answers are home runs. I think a lot of us maybe that will never go to SOT and don't live in Kansas City would have stopped by if we're ever in Kansas City. Not saying we were because of your dunkage on Jackson. And I think Jackson would even had respect for it. Maybe not. Maybe that's why they had to take it down. But both answers were good. Do your thing. Joining us now is a man who would have a incredibly well-worded response to any situation like that. Mm-hmm. He's a writer, an author, a speaker, a former general manager, a coach's consultant, and advisor for the New England Patriots for some time. Two of his kids currently coach in the NFL. This man has forgot more about football than we'll ever learn. Ladies and gentlemen, Paisan Michael Lombardi.
Guys, how are we doing today? How are things?
Ooh, you got that new phone. Look at the glow. Look at you. You look amazing, Paisan.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm not at some place. I'm not traveling. I'm home in my home office, so life is good. Yeah.
And well, we're thankful that you're joining us, especially on this day. It was a few weeks ago, maybe like 4 or 5 at this point, where you said, hey, I'm hearing that Urban's not going to last long in Jacksonville. And there was potential allusions toward maybe a college job, but how everything unfolded. Now, I don't want you to give up your sources, but was this pretty well known that this was over very weeks and weeks ago and they were just waiting for a reason, you think? Or how do you think this whole thing came to be?
Well, I think you can't treat grown men like children, right? And I think he's been doing that since he's gotten there, whether it's been coaches, players, or staff. And his behavior towards other people has not generated the type of leadership that you need in that position. I mean, he was put in charge there to build a culture. And it's something he talks about all the time, about how to win bad cultures. And he did everything in the opposite. I go back to the Tim Tebow signing. I mean, that was self-indulgent, and he's doing a friend for a favor for a friend. I mean, it had no reason to work. I mean, you're going to develop a backup tight end at 33 years old who can't play in the kicking game, who's never played tight end before. It was all about satisfying his own ego. And I think at the end of the day, Urban Meyer's career in Jacksonville will get summed up in 3 letters. EGO is ego. He wouldn't listen to anybody. He wouldn't take advice and counsel, and he thought he knew what to do. And this was building. I mean, Pelissero's report was just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, the players were getting frustrated with his practice, the way he was treating them. I mean, you can't do that. This is pro football. You lead in pro football through intellect, not through yelling at people because you have power.
Now, Lombardi, where do you think they go from here? Like, what about the timing? Were they just waiting where they could do it with cause, most likely? Like, what do you think Shad Khan, his whole idea was? I know he's been reviewing this for a month and a half, it seems like, 2 months.
Well, if he was reviewing it, it shouldn't have taken this long. I mean, I don't think that this is a one-time fender bender. I think this has been a pattern of reckless driving done by Urban Meyer for 7 months, and I think he had to do something. I mean, he's going to lose his franchise. I mean, what player was going to sign this offseason in Jacksonville? What player was going to go down there? Who wants to play for him? I mean, you guys both played in the league. You guys know players talk to one another all the time. You don't want to go down there, man. That's a bad place. You don't want to stay away from that was going through the league. Players wanted out of it. I mean, respected players, guys that want to win. Marvin Jones, he wants to win, and he's treating them like he's some walk on at Ohio State. I mean, seriously, you can't do that. And when it's bad, you got to change. Khan had no choice. Now, let's put the facts in place. Khan has owned the team. The last 11 years, they've had double digits losses, 10 of those 11 years. So when you ask who are they going to pick, they haven't been very good at picking. They haven't been very good at the state because they keep picking, well, we need an offensive coach or we need a defense. You need a culture. Like, you need somebody to go in there and build and unite people.
How? Who? Hey, Paisan, who would that be? How do you do that? That is much harder than just saying, hey, we need to build a culture.
It is way harder than you think, but you got to get people working together. You can't have people. Bill Walsh used to say this all the time. The Civil War is the ugliest war to fight. And most football teams fight a civil war. There's internal strife that creates it. And you have to build a culture that it's us against everybody else, and we stand united. And really, all that Urban did down there was become subversive from within.
Hey, the line has reacted to this. It has moved like 3-4 points.
It went from 3 to 5.
It went from 3 to 5.5 in favor of the Jaguars. They're like, hey, fired coach, renewed spirit in Jacksonville. What do you think they do going forward? Because it's just a collection of coaches, right? There isn't one tree. What do you think Shad Khan does from this point on? And what would you expect from Jacksonville if you were to maybe gamble on them for the rest of the way?
Well, I think they'll play spirited this week. I mean, look, they've got a good defensive front. They can rush the passer a little bit. I mean, they beat Buffalo 9-6 in kind of a quacky game. But last week, they turned the ball over 4 times, and their defense hung in there fairly well against Tennessee, who's missing some pieces as well. I mean, this is one of the few lines that's moving this week, guys, that isn't COVID related. I mean, the Washington line's up to 9 points. Soon to be 10. I mean, these lines are going crazy because of COVID. And this is the one line that's not. And this is because I think they'll feel like they'll be, at least everybody will be pulling in the same direction. And I think that Houston, who's got some injuries, I mean, their 2 linebackers, Christian Kirksey and Kruger Hill, are both on the COVID list, which really affects them. Plus, Houston's offensive line has not played very well. So this is a better matchup for Jacksonville today than it was opening day.
5.5 is a lot of points. I mean, for the Jacksonville
Jaguars.
It is. That might be my super boost though, this weekend. It might be. I mean, just what if they come out and blow the doors off of the Texans? Not that I mean, I like the Texans franchise. They're underwater as well, and I'm sure the players are great down there, and I wish I could be in that locker room, but they got their own problems. Let's talk about the COVID thing that you were chatting about there, and you alluded to about moving lines and everything like that. You have great relationships around the league. One such that is about a guy who is literally the chess player and playing, above everybody else. The greatest executive of all time, the greatest coach of all time, and a man that we're learning even more about his intelligence as we watch Man in the Arena, which is fantastic every single Tuesday night of your friend Tom Brady's career. How does Bill Belichick, you think, navigate this COVID thing different? There's 100 guys currently on their COVID reserve list. How do you think he's going to go through it? And do you think they make a change to the protocol?
I think they're going to have to. And I think what you're seeing what Miami did today, Miami decided to go sequester their team in a hotel.
Hey, can you get out of the sun? I mean, you're
yeah, I can't see. I see that sun right there. My Lord. Yeah. There you go.
You said
no,
that.
I got to lower that. I got to lower that. Hold on here. I got to move this. I don't understand it. When did I get so much sun here? I have no idea.
It's because your angelic pie's on. But you said that the Miami Dolphins are going to sequester in a hotel. Is that going to? How does that? That's not going to be able to be something that every team is going to be able to do, or
no? But I think that's the first step. Waddle went on the list, and so I think they're concerned. Gaskins is on the list in Miami. I think if you ask me what Coach Belichick would do, I think every December he starts talking about the flu. Wash your hands. Make sure everybody's taking care of themselves. So. I think that's really what we'll see more of as we go forward. I mean, I don't know. This virus spreads so quickly. It's different than the flu, but are some cases in the league now where people have the flu and they don't have COVID. So it's trying to distinguish that as well. So I think you're going to see much tighter restrictions going on and trying to eliminate as much contact with other people as possible, because this can ruin your team. I mean, the Washington football team is missing, I think, 7 starters on defense if they go play Philly. And that doesn't count what they're going to miss on offense. They don't have a backup quarterback because Kyle Allen's on COVID. They signed Josh Johnson, and we know Heineke's hurt.
Omnicron. Go ahead, AJ.
Going back to the Patriots, now that people are excited. We know Boston Connor's very excited. Patriots faithful are all very excited. Now, expectations are hey, Mac Jones is the next Tom Brady. This team, we've arrived. We're back. How do you think that changes anything now that they're not really playing the underdog anymore?
No, because they're always going to be the underdog in that building, because every week's a new week. So, look, they don't even count any wins as wins. It's on to the next week. But I think what they'll be reminded of is Tom Brady didn't really become Tom Brady until 06, 07. I mean, Tom Brady was good early, and, they ran the ball. They played great defense. It was a combination of a lot of things. And then all of a sudden, in 07, Brady exploded with Randy Moss, and they became more of a passing team, got out of the two-back. I think you're going to see those gradual incremental steps in Mac Jones' career as he continues to play well. And as Belichick often says, that the more you do, the more you'll get to do. The better you do it every time. If you can perform well, you'll get more to do. And I think that applies to people that work for him and people that play for him.
You have to move just a little bit more. You have something right on your nose. I mean, it looks like you have sunscreen on your nose.
Oh, yeah. There it is.
No, we had it. We had it for a second there. Yeah. Bing.
Boom.
Boom. Hey, boy, my guys.
Hey, I try. I'm not caught up on this social stuff. I mean, on this technical stuff, but I'm trying.
Nah, you're crushing it. And you just gave an incredible answer there, actually, that kind of lended us into, what Belichick is like on the day-to-day, because this man in the arena, hey, I alluded to it earlier, and I assume you're watching it as well, and you have a lot of friends that are involved in that whole thing. It's awesome getting to see how that place operates on a day-to-day. And I assume Mac is very thankful that that's where he ended up, as opposed to a lot of the other situations where rookie Trevor Lawrence, to say one, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It reminds me of a story once that I was at the Senior Bowl, and I'm talking to 2 coaches, and there's a bunch of Patriot coaches around me, and these 2 other coaches that are talking, and they say, I talk to Bill all the time. I kind of know what they do with the Patriots. And this one coach said, you have no effing idea what goes on inside that building. You may talk to Bill, but unless you're in that building, you have no idea. And I think this man in the arena gives people a peek, just the tip of the iceberg, into actually what goes on in that building.
Him predicting what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, him giving a speech after a game, after a win, saying, they did exactly what we thought they were going to do, right? That I don't think every speech after a game is like, we had to take some and we had to adjust a little bit and we did that and it was great effort in all 3 phases and we appreciate that. Him basically saying, he did exactly what we thought they were going to do. Great job. All right, let's move on to next week. It is so hilarious to me. That is a very funny. It seems like he actually does, though, know what's about to happen in games.
It's unbelievable. And I've said this before to many people. If you were able to tape his Sunday, okay, they're playing the Colts on Saturday night. So on Friday night in Indianapolis, there'll be a staff meeting, and he'll bring the staff in, and he'll tell the staff exactly how the game's going to go. And how he wants the game to go, and how he thinks it's going to go, and what adjustments need to occur during the game. And and he's never wrong. I mean, one time I'm sitting next to Nick Saban. We're getting ready to play Philly in 1994, and Philly's good. We're both 6-2 teams. And he's telling us this game could be over at halftime. And Nick and I looked at each other and said, what is he talking about? Like, what are we talking? And it was over at halftime. He was right.
Well, hold on. Is it always negative or always positive? He's just very matter of fact because everybody.
Matter of fact, it's never in a negative. Look, here's what we got to do to win this game. Make sure the players understand it. Keep reinforcing it. I think that one of the great scenes of Belichick is at that Rams Super Bowl when he walks over to Flores and he walks over to Brendan Donovan and he says, "Look, guys, there's probably 12 more plays left to go in the game. Let's make sure everybody knows the calls, understand what we're doing, and go from there." Like, he sees the game in sections. Like I said before, he understands that, you've got to be able to play the first quarter as adjustments, the second and third as a game, and then the fourth as a standalone. So, but he's constantly thinking about the adjustments and how he's going to make what he practiced work.
Will he ever stop, you think? No way, huh?
I think Mac has given them all life. I mean, I think in talking to them up there, they're enthusiastic about having a quarterback. Because, look, that's half the battle in the National Football League. When you don't have one, you got to try to find one.
Go ahead, Connor.
Yeah, I mean, that was all incredible. It's good to know that we have a goddamn fortune teller as a head coach. But Lombardi, what does he do during the bye week? Because his record coming off a bye is pretty incredible. Does he just go back into the lab and kind of watch like the last 25 years of Indianapolis Colts tape? Or like, what does he do?
He goes back and studies himself. I mean, they basically work on themselves. Like, what do we need to improve on? Like, what must we get better at? How do we handle this? What are we going to do in this situation? Situational football and internal scouting are what's going on in the bye week. How do we prepare? And then he's going to study the Colts, but he's only going to study the Colts against games that he feels like runs a defense similar to what he would do. He'll watch the Super Bowl. Frank Reich called that game in the Super Bowl. He'll go back and watch other games that run a similar, if the Colts play the Giants or Miami, he'll go back and watch those tapes, how they matched up, what they did. And then one thing you do, I mean, if you're Chris Ballard and you're Frank Reich after the game, he's going to tell you what he thinks of your team. Once you understand what his game plan is, he's basically declared what he thinks of your team.
Oh, this is who's good. This is who's good on your squad. This is what you don't do well. This is what we thought we should attack. And by the way, here's some advice if you want it. It's on you. It's not on me. I just want to let you know this. Like, for instance, when he started doubling TY, that was a big deal. Like for TY, I think. Like TY in our offense. Like TY, he hated it because he was kind of getting taken out of a game. But I know deep down, TY was like, okay, Belichick thinks like I am worthy of a safety over top. Like, that's a huge deal. Not just Bill, by the way. A lot of people do this. But I'm excited to see what comes of Saturday night. Go ahead, Ty.
Michael, you've talked for the last several weeks on the GM Shuffle about how Rodgers is the MVP. And I think you're right. Whether or not he wins it is, a different discussion. But do you think the Packers are better off this year than they were last year? And is Rodgers good enough to basically overcome how shitty their special teams unit is?
Well, I mean, I think they're just not as healthy as they were last year, right? So I think that's a concern. But, that offensive line, I mean, he covers up for that, too. I mean, the two tackles last week, he's got Dennis Kelly over there playing right tackle, and he's got some rookie playing left tackle. And, of course, LaFleur, he doesn't give any help to either one of them, He just figures Rodgers will make a throw, Who's chipping on who, right? I mean, early in that game, Robert Quinn was about ready to destroy the game. He was going to set the sack leader in the first quarter. He was coming after him so bad. So he covers up so many sins. I mean, it's ridiculous how he does it. It's unbelievable. The throw he made, I text you, Pat, after he made that throw. There's only 3 people on planet Earth that could make that throw. Like, it was unbelievable. And everything he does, just the little things in the second half when he takes the play clock all the way down. He knows the opponent's no longer the Bears. It's the clock. I mean, he does things that most great coaches have to tell you to do, and he does them instinctively. So I think they're going to be hard to play. I think defensively, Kenny Clark went on COVID today. I think that's going to be an issue. But, I mean, he can overcome everything. And look, I don't want to dismiss LaFleur, but, LaFleur's got, an 80% winning percentage? I mean, take away that guy. Here's what I will predict. He may not win. He should be the MVP of the league. I'll say that. But he will be the first $50 million player in the NFL.
He always acts like he's smarter than everybody, too. Well, he might. Yeah. Hey, the son of a bitch might be. I mean, is that ever a thought? At some point when somebody said, hey, this guy always feels like he's the smartest person in the room. What if he is? Like, is that ever talked into the conversation? And I'm not saying he should talk down or do anything like that. But when he speaks about the game and when he speaks about why he does stuff, I fucking enjoy it so much. Just like, oh, this guy is everything is very everything is tied together. His football game, whenever he starts speaking about football and he's recalling, I had 22 throws in my first ever game. Or, Favre hit a Mon in this preseason game against Buffalo. And I always thought to myself, man, it'd be cool if I get to my headspace and do it. And then here we are in 2021, week 14. And he's like, when Favre did, I can do a fucker right now. Like, it is just... It's unbelievable for him, and we always get yelled at for, complimenting him too much. So I thank you for doing it, because you come from a very different tree. It's real, dude. The guy is a fucking stud, and he.
I mean, look. I love Tommy Brady as much as anybody, and Tom's had such an incredible season this year. But Tom's got a good team around him now. That offensive line's really good. He doesn't have any injuries. He's got really good receivers around him, and he's got Fournette in the backfield, and a defense that's got some liability in the secondary because of injuries. But when you look at Rodgers, I mean, he's playing with a backup left tackle. We're waiting for Bakari to come back. The right tackle gets hurt last week. Inside players. I mean, and he makes it all work. He makes it all. He goes into Arizona without anybody, and he beats Arizona there. I mean, come on.
Yeah, he's a stud, obviously, and Tom Brady is as well. Go ahead, Tone.
Lombo, the Chargers are always, you have no idea what team is going to show up for them. And then KC's been two different teams this year. How do you handicap tonight?
I think it's going to be a hard game for the Chargers. I think the least amount of points they've allowed all season is 21. I don't think their defense can hold up. I really don't. I mean, even in the Cincinnati game that they won, that if Joe Mixon doesn't fumble, they're going to lose that game. And I love Herbert. I think Herbert's sensational. When you watch the first tape of that game, I mean, they went after the corners of the Chiefs, and they won those matchups. I mean, they went after everybody in the secondary. Now, Snead's not going to play tonight because of personal issues. But to me, those receivers are so good. But Kansas City has been, since the second half of the Washington game, they gave up no points in that half. They were losing 13-10. And then they played Tennessee. They gave up 27, but off of turnovers in the first half. They didn't allow points in the second half. They've been unbelievable, giving up 11 points a game. I think the Chargers are going to have a hard time scoring against them, and I think the Chiefs will figure out a way to score. The Chargers' defense, to me, is the downfall of their team.
Need Mahomes throw a touchdown first half and second half. Go ahead, AJ.
Mike, how's that work with Kansas City's defense? How they can look almost like a different team from the early half in the season to the second. We've seen them do it in the past, I feel like, and now their defense is rolling. They're a very, very scary team. Like, how can you make like a big jump mid-season?
Well, I think you got to understand Spagnuolo, right? Spagnuolo is all about, I'm going to create a negative play. I want to create a negative play. I'm going to do things that are unorthodox. I'm going to take chances. I'm going to be able to be confusing to you so you make a mistake. And often what happens early in Spagnuolo's tenure as the coach during the season, they make the mistakes, not the opponent. And they blow a coverage, and they do. And I think once they kind of got settled down on who they were defensively, and they stopped trying to take all these chances and played smart football and assignment football, they got better, because that front's good now. You got Frank Clark, you got Chris Jones, who is the MVP for the Chiefs this year. It's not Mahomes, it's Chris Jones. Chris Jones is dynamic. And so they've got Chris Jones inside there, and then they've got Jared Reed, and then their corners are much better than people think. So I think what they did, AJ, is they simplified their scheme. They played more physical up front. They've done a really good job with their defensive line. Daly, the former coach of the Patriots, is a really good coach. And they've kind of got themselves where they're not beating themselves. They're not giving away free access touchdowns. The worst thing you can do as a defensive coach is blow a coverage, and the next thing you know, the guy's running 60 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah, because that takes the entire everything out of your team, out of the building. It either lights the other stadium on fire, or it completely, it kills you. Those over the top one. Hey, you can get some yards, but you're not going to gain points on us. I appreciate you joining us, Paisan. We miss you around here, buddy. Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
Anytime, my man. You know that. I'm here.
Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
I think I had Green Bay and Kansas City to start it off with. I'll stay with that right now. I think it's Green Bay's year. I really do. I think the guy's playing at a level above everybody.
All right, we appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Michael Lombardi.
Yeah,
Let's get to a full Chubb back in the backfield for Ty Schmidt.
Guy knows football.
Let's get to a break, and the Browns. Something to think about.
Lumbo's guy got $500 million today.
Who?
The boss.
Oh yeah,
Springsteen.
What?
Yeah, $500 million for his entire catalog. I believe his library.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Who bought it?
Sony.
Like when didn't the Beatles buy Michael Jackson's catalog?
Oh, and then Bieber and then bought Taylor Swift's.
Yeah. Bieber.
Well, not
Scooter Braun.
Scooter, yeah.
Who's?
Yeah.
Bieber's guy.
Yeah.
I think.
I thought AJ bought all of Springsteen's music for a while.
Springsteen's.
Hey, $500 million is so much money.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good for him, man.
Mahomes deal.
He deserves it. Deserves it. I thought it'd be more, to be honest.
They don't call him the boss for nothing.
And he can re-record all those songs in a different fashion and re-release them. Taylor did that, right?
Yep.
Exactly. Yep. He's got that Christmas song too. I mean that's never gonna die.
Let's talk about Christmas real quick before we get to this break.
Oh no.
Young Rock Christmas special last night. What a show. Oh, so
Unbelievable.
good. What a show.
Thank you, you watched.
Thank you. I did. What are you talking about? I did.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, Coach O's wife makes some gumbo that, added a little seasoning, and Zito tweeted about you never add salt. She had a stress faint on Christmas, and The Rock responded, by the way. To be honest, a little bit of a mislead there at the beginning of the show. Took quite a turn. It was amazing.
Are those shotgun shells on one crutch?
Well, he was trying to. Well, he's Big Tim. Just listen. You would never understand. Okay,
I'll watch. No, I'll watch.
Yeah, you have to watch. It's a great
sure.
show. Thank you, Dwayne Claus.
Thank you, Dwayne Claus.
For quote tweeting old Lord Zito down there. Viva la Zito.
Thank you, Rock.
Zeke's in the family now, basically.
Man.
This is a couple different times Zeke's gotten quote tweeted by The Rock. I absolutely love it. What a show, Young Rock. Thank you, Rock.
Thank you, Dwayne.
Hey, that could have won an hour, I think. 30 minutes is quick.
It only went 30 minutes? No commercials, though, because...
No, there was commercials.
So it was
about
15.
13 minutes of content.
22 minutes.
It was amazing. It saved Christmas. We're back in 4 minutes. Zito and I appreciate Dwayne Johnson.
So do I. I do
So
too.
do I.
Me too.
I do too, but if he goes
It's a
up
great
against-
scarf he's wearing.
But if he does a shitty Christmas special, I mean...
It wasn't shitty.
about it, dude.
It was good.
It was only 15
What?
minutes, though.
Yeah, but there was a lot of good jokes. There was a lot of good story in there. There's feel good. You learned a little bit more about The Rock, the future president. I mean, come on.
Was that Coach O's ex-wife? Or one of his
Or
new...
current.
It was his mother, dude.
No,
It was his mom?
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Pat
okay.
said
Yeah.
wife.
Pregnant lady at the gas station.
Why are we still on Coach O in this show? Was
What are
he
you
that,
talking about?
that
It's a
big in The
Christmas
Rock's
special.
life?
He was his D-line coach.
Because the
man.
guy plays him.
You.
The actor who plays him does such a spot on.
How long did The Rock
he
play
does.
college football?
4
Like 1
years,
year?
What are you
Not
talking
even.
about, dude?
Dude.
Jeez Louise. It was
some
great.
respect, man.
People should watch it. Get you in the holiday spirit. I watched Santa Claus the Grinch with Jim Carrey last night. I tried to watch it. I fell asleep in the middle of it. I will re-hit it because it is, Grinch season. What a movie, by the way. It's so perfectly made.
It's unbelievable. It's the greatest, and it's not a half hour.
It got a 49. Well, it's a movie, not an episode. The Young Rock's an episode.
Well, they're
Don't
both
be a
special, some would say.
Well, the Grinch with Jim Carrey only got 49%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe
Says
those.
who?
Says the
Rotten Tomatoes.
because it has everything that they would like, right? All the cleverly written bullshit in there.
But Jim Carrey doesn't, grease the poles of the Rotten Tomatoes people like most people freaking do who are in movies these days.
Talking about.
Grease the pole.
Seriously.
That's going to replace grease their pockets for sure.
I have to reiterate.
He doesn't downhill ski on the poles of this.
I have to reiterate the fact that the things that are
Right
said
in
in
the
the
middle.
microphones on this show do not reflect that of their peers or most certainly their employer.
Never.
We're back in 4 minutes with more sports talk. Cheers. The greatest sport on earth? And do you think football is the greatest sport on earth? And why do you like football?
That's a really deep question there, Pat.
I know. I think I'd get a good answer out of you, though. Like, I think you'd be able to talk about it in a way that I think a lot of people haven't because you've been at the pinnacle of it for so damn long and inside of it. And your brain is a pretty fantastic one. We've learned here over the last few weeks, obviously. Last few weeks, that's it. That's all the time we've learned that.
I think it's the greatest sport in the world for one main reason. It is a true team sport where it is damn near impossible for one person to dominate an entire game. And if you look at other team sports, basketball with 5 guys on the court, I think you've seen multiple players over the years. Maybe one player, maybe 1 or 2 players on a squad be able to dominate and win championships. Baseball, you can have a dominant pitcher and win championships. Soccer, you can have a dominant forward and or goalie. That seems to be a little more of a team sport, but you don't have 11 players engaged at the same time on every play. It is truly a sport reliant on
every player on the field to do their job in order to be successful. And I think that's why at times, certain star players can get maybe too much credit and maybe too much blame on the flip side, because it does take so many players at the same time in 3 phases to win football games. And I think that's the beauty and the draw of our sport, is that something new happens all the time, because you are literally dealing with 11 humans on the field at one time who all have lives outside of football, and there's distractions, there's a reliance on coaching, there's a reliance on preparation, there's a reliance on diet and performance. I just think there's so many facets to it that you see something new every single week, and I think that's the beauty in our game. When it comes to the love that I have for it, it's rooted, and I think like any player who's played for a long time, the love is not just about our sport, it's about competition. And I think there's nothing in the world for me that fills that need and that hole I have like competition. I think players who played for a long time at a high level, you have that need to be satiated competitively, and it's a love of going out there and going against guys and being in an environment where you know that nothing is guaranteed. And that's why at times I've taken umbrage to people saying that it's easy, because it's not easy. It's never easy. And I think that's the beauty in our game, is that you see things new every single week. It's never easy. And your only thing you're guaranteed is the ability to compete. I love that aspect of it. I love competing. I love going out there and harnessing the fear of failure, where I think so many people who maybe don't love football as much, the root of that is a deep fear of failure, that you might go out there and your best might not be good enough, and that's not okay with you.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here on this Let's Get Hot Super Boost Thursday Night Football, Thursday, December 16th, 2021. Plus 170 is the Super Boost of tonight. We hit one on Sunday, a 3-leg parlay. That was pretty easy, I guess. Money lines, it's always easy when it wins, right? Everybody says, obviously, this is very easy that this happens. We hit on Sunday, and now we're going to hit tonight when Patty Mahomes throws 1 touchdown in the first half, 1 touchdown in the second half. That's all we need them to do, at least 1 in either half, and I can't wait for it to celebrate Manana. Tomorrow, we will have Bill Burr live in studio.
Wow.
What? Al Michaels will be on the show.
Wow. Holy shit.
Yeah, who else? There's somebody
Biggest
else.
Friday of all time.
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones on the show as well tomorrow. Hey, big day tomorrow, dude.
Big Friday coming, yeah.
Yeah, and then this weekend, obviously, NFL football on Saturday and Sunday. Then Overreaction Monday. Life is great. We can't thank you enough for watching alongside us at youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. Let's go to some phone calls on the 5-Hour Energy phone line, shall we?
Let's do it.
Let's go to Luke in South Dakota. Go Big, go Blue, go Jacks. How you doing, pal?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Hey, keep it moving there, Luke.
Also, really quickly, just to mention this, fuck the Jacks. I'm a Coyote USC guy, so
I mean,
yeah, sorry about that.
Hang up there.
I'm sorry about that, because you should be a Jack, dude. Loser.
I mean, I don't know if you saw this last year, but we beat them.
Yeah, just wait every once in a while.
Yeah.
I mean, broken clock twice a day. Blind squirrel finds a nut. Don't worry about the
Sun shines on
Jacks.
the dog's ass every once in a while.
Boom, they're back. You're losing for the rest of time, pal. Anyways, what do you want to talk about, dude?
So now that it's kind of come out that Urban Meyer is an asshole to his players, can he go back to the college game and be able to step into households and be able to recruit those kids with the
Great question, Luke. Is this going to affect his future employment as a college football coach now that it is pretty apparent from a lot of stories? I assume Urban will have a rebuttal, by the way. Urban is not going to go quietly into the night, especially with how many friends he has in the media world. Urban is going to have some sort of rebuttal to this Lambeau story and to everything else that has happened. So who knows what he will say or how he will get back into it. Rappaport said the guy's an incredible talker.
Yeah. And
Incredible talker is what Rappaport said.
AJ's brother-in-law Brady also came out on Urban's side and said,
media's fault.
It was it was kind of a bad location to begin with.
So Brady said that before the kick to the hamstring firing, though.
Right.
Yes.
He said this a couple days ago whenever, the Urban Vrabel thing happened, and we were kind of in memoriam or whatever. Brady came out at that point to speak about him because they worked together on the Big Noon Kickoff show. But then the Lambeau kick to the hamstring firing happened overnight, and everybody's bringing Brady's quotes back like, oh, Brady is still thinking this, even though it is within your family, AJ, and we will ask you about that. Certainly your brother-in-law saying that. Is that how the Urban Meyer backers think? They think like, hey, this is all a bunch of bullshit. They don't think like, hey, this dude has been an absolutely terrible head coach in the NFL. Is that real?
No, I have no idea what other people are thinking. I don't even know. I don't know if Brady is saying that. Brady, he said the media has kind of had it out from the jump, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because he doesn't feel like they have a great relationship. The media doesn't like him. He may not like the media. That's what I took from what Brady was saying.
Oh, okay. That's interesting because all the media has done is made him look like a god forever, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it's not as if he didn't
Not
do
in
anything
Jacksonville, I'm
this
saying.
year.
Oh, he's talking about the Jacksonville.
I think he's talking like mainly since he took the gig in the NFL.
Oh, okay, got it. But I felt like there was a lot of people saying he was going to be good, right?
Yeah, and that Cincinnati thing happened early in the season.
Yeah, dude, that was like week 5.
Yeah, he gave the media a reason to eviscerate it.
And when you don't have like great relationships around with not only the adults, players, everybody, people love to jump and pile on. Obviously, they love to see it when someone does get taken down that they feel like is a bad guy.
Well, and also Brady knows him personally, I guess. He has a personal relationship with him, and none of us do, I guess. So what if Urban Meyer came on this show? How do you think that would go?
Oh, it'd be awesome.
I think he's going to fucking crawl into a hole for the next couple years.
No way.
I think
But
so.
to that guy's question,
No way.
a college team would definitely hire him if he wants to coach again. You know that.
Yeah, for sure. But I think I could see that being, 2 years from now. Because, it used to be, when he was at Ohio State and stuff like that, sure, fan bases maybe didn't like him, but I feel like he has got a life's worth of bad publicity, and this shit never came out, and then his entire reputation and how people perceive him
Because he was winning the whole time. Because he was never
Right.
losing games.
Right.
When you lose, this stuff comes out.
So is that what everybody meant whenever they said, Urban's never lost before? They weren't talking about him being able to handle the competitive loss. They're talking about everything that potentially comes with the losing.
Maybe, and I don't know exactly. Yeah, maybe. I think also you can see how much the losing bothers him too, and it just. Yeah, I don't know though, because then they'll think if he turned okay, let's say the players don't like how he's treating them now. If they turn around, they start winning a bunch of games. Coaches tend to want to hold on tighter, and they're going to push even harder. So when you start winning, it may not get that much better there.
Hey, 5 out of 10, dude.
It's pretty hard.
We should judge how hard that may be.
I know, it's interesting.
I think it's hard enough where it doesn't hurt, but it's also hard enough where you get knocked off balance.
It was it probably was jarring. It's surprising. What?
It was a lot harder
happened?
than I thought it was going to be, and we do not have that relationship for you to kick me in that fashion. You don't even know my name.
Yeah,
and to his point,
But isn't your
in the
natural reaction, though,
workplace.
Pat? Sometimes if someone hits you or something happens, you instantly throw a punch.
Well, that's that's what I was trying to allude to earlier.
It's just not a natural thing where you get dinged in a certain way. You
Fuck
just instant
you.
boom.
Yeah, it's
do
hard.
something.
It's hard not to at least have maybe not immediately throw a punch.
Not to the face, like chest or back.
Yeah, push like a push though, some sort of.
Cock
And
your
I
back.
wonder if that happened. I mean, we don't know.
I don't think so.
But I don't. We sound like the biggest meatheads of all time, though. Do you know that? And I love Josh Lambeau. Incredible kicker, very successful, great athlete. I just don't know how we get to that point. You know what I mean? I don't know how we get. And that sounds like just oh, this is big talk. I'm being serious, though. And we can ask Chuck, who's going to be joining us in about 10 minutes, how does a coach and a player get to a point where the player actually think fourth highest accuracy in the history of the NFL and one of the pillars of the team. How did they get to a point that quickly where the guy who got kicked thought oh, this was ill-intended, that? You know what I mean? Ill-intended. It's that is a big question mark as well.
Yeah, it had to surprise a lot of people that saw it in the moment, and then you had to start thinking about it, wow, okay, huh. I've never seen anything remotely like this happen on an NFL field.
Because somebody will say something to me that I'm tight, and I'm like, all right, fuck off. Somebody that I'm not tight with says it though, and I'm like, hey, why don't you eat a bag of shit? You know, like there's like relationships that you have with people.
We're not. Hey, I understand. Like you think, like you see us talking, us two, like me and my brother, me and you talk, but hey, you guys can't come in and say that.
Hey, listen, are you the all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers? No, okay. Do not speak to me that way. You know, now the AJ can do it, but like that is a friend and like not a friend. The fact that Josh's first response was like a combative, you know, like he thought it was a combative thing. That's not good. That's
not good.
What led to that point is the biggest story of this entire thing. But also, what if Josh just stands up and punches him right in the mouth?
Oh,
what if Josh
him?
Lambo had been in the Oculus too, and he literally hit him with a pop and just drops him on the thing? That would have been awesome.
No, what would have been better is if he stood up and he has like a nice form tackle. They go to the ground, they're rolling around. You're like, is that Josh Lambo with our head coach rolling around the ground throwing punches?
What if he just tackles him down by the ankles and then just starts kicking him in his kidney and his, you know what I mean? We hope Josh Lambo's okay.
Yeah.
Right. We're back tomorrow. Cheers. Yeah, that's how we ended. Yeah, we hope he's okay.
Kicking him in the kidneys. Shoulda.
Diva put a hilarious. I didn't put myself in the position. Oh, great transition, Foxy. I didn't put myself in the position until I read Darius's. Like, obviously, I mean, there is a lot of, you know, and I think everybody knows this now at this point. I will speak up if I don't necessarily love, even though I shouldn't, and I know I shouldn't. If nobody else will, I'll do it. I'll do my job pretty good. I've been around here a long time. I'm not scared to ever do that. Like, I was never scared, never have been. I think that's why a lot of my teammates and people I've been around probably knew this was going to be an okay job for me. But imagine him doing that to Vinatieri. Vinatieri, like, state champion high school wrestler.
Yeah.
Imagine Vinny just taking him to the ground and just fucking get out of my league. Get out of my league. That would be awesome if that would have happened. What if
I don't think he would have done it. I don't think he would have kicked Vinatieri.
Well, that's the biggest conversation piece. It's like, how did that? Hey, kicker to Josh Lambo, who's an accomplished kicker.
That's what I still don't understand. Is like you could maybe understand this if it's like a guy who's never kicked in the league before, and he's like, okay, you know, like I don't want to get cut tomorrow if I say something to Urban, but like the fourth highest percentage of like field goal, you know, accuracy in the history of the NFL. Like he's not just some fucking schmuck. Like there's a good, like he's going to be their kicker this year. It just makes no sense.
He thought, by the way, and Lambo said that he was worried about making the team, and it's a new regime. You got to reprove yourself. And I understand where he's coming from, and I've met a lot of guys like him, but just the amount of like restraint that he had to show in numerous occasions is.
Urban's probably saying though, hey, like you know how they always say. I want to make sure practice is much more difficult than anything you'll see in the game. You think he's doing that? Like, hey, the amount of pressure I put on this kid to make kicks in practice, I want him to get in the game, and it just seems easy. He's not worried about all that pressure.
I put him on high-pressure kicks. I put him on high-pressure walks. I put him in high-pressure stretches. Listen, man, when he's doing a lunge, I fucking let him know that this ain't no easy lunge, okay? Mm-hmm. Everybody's going to be chirping you. Maybe that is Urban's mindset, but how do you get to that point? And that Lambo goes on a TV interview.
And what made it happen right now as opposed to a month ago or whenever?
It's crazy, man. Only Urban Meyer could pull it off. I guess we should congratulate him, man.
Yeah.
Hey, congrats, Urban. All of this stuff that happened in a very short period of time will be talked about for much longer than it lasted. You know,
we'll have to get Schlegs on sometime.
So what's going on with the rest of the team? There's somebody, the assistant becomes the head coach.
Daryl Bevel's the interim coach who they didn't want to blame, but they do, like they're talking about. So I heard Kyle Brandt say on this morning, he had a great comment. He said the worst thing that's happened is that it's made Trevor Lawrence irrelevant, and that's not a knock on Trevor Lawrence. I mean, like Trevor Lawrence, the number one pick, this dude that seems to be the prototype quarterback that you want. Like no one really is even paying any attention to what he's doing down there.
We were talking about that being a strength of what Urban was doing. You know, he brought in Tebow. So the conversation was Tebow. And then Urban was the conversation. Then the chop house happened. And obviously that conversation became its own conversation. But Trevor Lawrence was never dealing with being the national conversation. I assume locally he was getting a lot of press and everything like that. But the national conversation was never about the number one overall pick who had been the number 1 overall pick since he was in 7th grade, basically. Nobody's talking about Trevor Lawrence at all. But I think now the conversation about Trevor Lawrence is like, this dude's potentially just going to get wasted, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to – and how many other quarterbacks has this happened to? Will Trevor lose
The
interest?
enemy is going to get the gig.
The enemy, Daboll, who else? There's a couple.
Didn't Maurice Jones-Drew come on the show and say that Bieniemy thought he had the Jags job?
Oh, I don't remember that. Did he say that?
I think he said that. I don't know if he said Bieniemy thought he had a job. I believe he said he thought he had the Jags job.
Hey, how about
or he really wanted it, I should say.
So Bieniemy, and there's been a couple conversations. Urban getting a job over Bieniemy, by the way, was an immediate conversation from a lot of people around the NFL where they're like, this guy hasn't even literally has not even sipped a coffee in an NFL coaches meeting. This guy has never done it. He's been asked, hey, what do you think of this player? Oh, he's a good player. He works hard. He does this. About this player. He has no idea what it's like. And you got guys like Daboll and Bieniemy and others like Jim Caldwell, who his name is coming back up. I think he wants to get back into the biz. He won in Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
He took the Colts to a Super Bowl and then was fired 2 years later whenever 50% of our salary cap was not being allowed to be used on the thing. It feels like maybe there's a guy that's in there, but Urban got a job over all those people. So I think there was some class of NFL coaches who had been around a long time who thought, how is this guy getting these gigs over these guys? And they were excited almost for the downfall, though they would never say it publicly. Joining us now is a man who was a college coach for a long time, then went into the NFL and became a smashing success with his players. Respected by everybody that has ever played for him. Been around, been there, done that, been a head coach, was my head coach. Very lucky to have him each week on, and hopefully the internet is good. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Chuck Pagano.
What's up, guys?
Coach.
Yeah, I sent a big guy with a nose on the side of his face like this over to my IT guy. We just spent a bunch. So I said, look, no gabagool. This thing goes out again.
Well, we're thankful that you were able to make some time on this beautiful Thursday to chit-chat. Let's talk about the Urban Meyer situation. AJ and I, our biggest takeaway from this is how do you even get to the point between head coach and kicker who's been around a while and successful for a while, where if he does kick him in the middle of a stretch session, the kicker thinks it is a combative move, like, hey, this is not like us being friends. How does that even happen? There just has to be a long list of disrespect that happens there. Lambeau said that he didn't even call him by his name. He called him kicker. Like, how do we get to that point in the men's league? And how does the team let it happen? How does Lambeau let it happen? Like, how did we get there, you think, Chuck?
Yeah, I think you said it best. I mean, there was obviously no relationship built from day one with, sounds like a bunch of people in that organization, staff, coaches, players. I just don't, it seems like it's not in his DNA to be that guy, and maybe got away with that, obviously, in college, and was very, very successful. But like, if I had a relationship with you, Pat, or had a relationship with Vinny like we had, and something like that, I was coming up and just breaking your balls and, hey, how about make a kick today? You missed everything, yes. Because we had a relationship, there was trust there, there was respect there. It would have never got to the certain point that this got to, but there was no investment there, and obviously no investment in a lot of people there. And so I think AJ said it and everybody else said it. This was another opportunity for another guy to pile on, and it just kind of feels a lot like the Gruden situation. As things came out and nothing was done, then something else came out, and then another email, and so this is like, okay, Shad's trying to, save face a little bit here, and because Shad ultimately, hired this guy, so you let him go in the first season before the first season is even done. It looks bad on you. You hired this dude, so he's trying everything to give this guy another opportunity. But then, this Lambeau thing obviously was the last straw, so to speak, and so I just think that. No time spent when I think that's the most critical part when you come into an organization, you come into a new job, is that you spend time and you invest time in building all the relationships, not only with just your players, but the coaches that you hire, and you're setting your culture, your foundation, all that stuff, but everybody in the building. and you treat everybody with respect. I don't know. It's not rocket science. It's not that hard. I look at, how you run your corporation, how you run your business there. As the leader of that, Pat, you have empathy. You understand. You get this as a leader. You understand servant leadership. And servant leadership is you're there to help AJ and Ty and Connor and Nick and Zito and Guppy and Tone and AJ. You're there to help all those people be the best that they can be. Every single day. And so Foxy.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Coach.
My wife always told me, she said, don't start naming all the names. You're going to leave somebody out.
That's exactly right.
Young little McMahon. I know Nick's on the how's Nick feeling, by the way? Is he doing okay?
Nick, I think, had some symptoms for a few hours. I haven't heard this morning or today, but he and Mitt had a different version, I guess. Mitt was sweating a little bit more and coughing a little bit more. I think Nick had some aches as well. I don't know where they're at right now, but I'm sure they're very thankful that you reached out and said.
I hope they're okay. And if I miss some guys in the room, I apologize, certainly. But it sounds like this Omnicrom's a bit like the Lions. Not very good, not very tough.
That was quick.
That was awesome.
Sorry,
Chuck. Chuck, you mentioned relationships.
No,
I thought that was great. Relationships, like, that's 100%. It makes so much sense in being a leader. But in players, you hear people say they'll do anything for you if they know how much you care about them. When you're a head coach, if you're a first-time head coach, I guess I could see, like, how do you show the players that you care about them from day one? And obviously you have a ton on your plate. How do you do that and still, like, balance everything else that you're doing trying to run a team?
Yeah, I think what you have to do, AJ, is there. To me, there's nothing more important than building those relationships from day one. And forget all the other stuff that's going on. You get your staff in place and then take the ego out of it. Hire a bunch of really smart dudes that are way smarter than you and way more talented than you in all the different areas, and delegate and let them go do their jobs. And you as the leader of that organization and that the face or whatever, spend the time where you need to spend it. And that's getting to know the AJ Hawks and the Pat McAfees and sitting down and not just the football, let's get to know this human being and what makes him tick and what's important to him, and ask him, what his goals and his dreams and his aspirations are, and talk about his family. Are you married? Do you have kids? Where are you from? And invest that time and get to know these people, so that, and Dick Vermeil said it best, AJ, you talked about that. He said this quote a long time ago, is these players don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so that's real. So, because there's gonna be some adversity, there's gonna be some tough times, there's gonna be some things, but if there's some trust there and there's some relationship there, Pat and I could go and shut my door and sit down at the desk and hash a lot of things out, because I think there was a relationship and there was mutual respect there. And if that's not there, that shit ain't going very good.
Could you imagine? You're in your head that the punter might be a guy who's going to come in here and give me a little bit of a, hey, this is how people are feeling about something. I think about that a lot when my natural reaction for the Lambeau thing was, if Urban Meyer was calling me kicker or punter, like if he was calling me and Vinny, kicker or punter, and we're in however many years we're into our career, Vinatieri obviously never anything like that. I think Vinny and I at some point would be like, hey, my name's fucking Pat. This is Vinny. We were here before you. We'll probably be here after you. Let's go ahead and, there has to be some sort of that somewhere. That whole situation, I just think back, well, maybe it's because he's a kicker and he just felt like he couldn't do anything. He felt so low, but that should never be a feeling you have within the team. If outside they think that, within the locker room, I don't know. That was just a very interesting thing for me. It was very, very interesting, Chuck.
No, I don't get that. And we all were brought up in this profession, maybe a different way, saw different ways to do things. Obviously, like you guys said 1,000 times over, winning, cures a lot of things. And when you win, you tend to be able to get away with more, maybe. And so, obviously, at the college level, Urban's been able maybe to maybe all this stuff, there was red flags, there was stuff, there's things, there's this, there's that. I'm not here obviously to judge all that, but there was a certain way that, he probably did business and thought, I can get away with it. I remember when I first jumped from college to the National
Here we go.
Football
That's what I
League
was about to ask.
in Cleveland. When
yeah.
I went to the Browns, there was a learning curve for myself. I'll be quite honest with you, and the players taught me, and I had to listen. And it is the men's league, and you are dealing with grown men and people that have wives and have children and smart dudes. That you just can't. However you maybe did things, at the college level or talk to guys or coach, there was a learning curve there. And I learned a ton, not only from the players, but also, from the assistant coaches that had been in the league that I was working with. And again, the relationships are huge, but the way you have conversations, the way you talk, the way you teach, the way you coach, and especially, you come after a dude in front of his peers. Again, that relationship better be very, very strong. It better be rock solid if you come after a dude in front of his peers, because you may still get nose to nose, and there may be some, some words there, probably no blows. But if there is no trust and no relationship there, you're going to get your ass kicked. A grown-ass man's going to jump all over. I'm serious. They'll come after you, and there'll be people pulling that thing apart.
That's what AJ said, isn't it if somebody kicks you and you think it's in a combative fashion, isn't your immediate response to punch the person? And I was like, I think it would if you thought it was combative, but I think even getting to that point, we got to call you back, Chuck, on our end, little tech thing in your voice there. We'll call you back. His, the take on him going from college to the NFL and saying like, hey, the players taught me, like, hey, the things are this isn't real. Because I think ultimately it revolves around, and Lombardi kind of hinted at it, but I think it's real. The football IQ level of guys in the NFL, you can't, like in high school, the coach is the smartest person on earth, teaching you fundamentals, knows football better than you do, don't ask any questions. College, not only does this person know football better than you, they also control, whether or not you're going to continue to go to school there, what your future looks like. They're the one talking to anybody, whether you can make it into the NFL, everything like that. They're smarter than you are. In the NFL, as guys grow older, it's like, okay, I've been around football like 20 years as well. Like I have my own thoughts, my own successes. I would like to be heard and listened to, not only because it's the right thing to do, but because this is a natural thing to happen when it's your profession. If I'm better at something, I would like to be heard. And that is something that I think is probably tough for some of these guys, AJ.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just how it all works. Like a coach, you have to have trust. There's got to be mutual respect between the two as well. Like, it's normal, as Chuck said, getting face-to-face with coaches. Like, that happens at times. Like, you're going back and forth, a disagreement. A lot of times in the sideline of games, that would happen. We talk about Luke Fickell and Bobby and Schlegs and myself talking about it. During games, like, there would be massive blow-ups at times with Luke. And then after the game, we're hugging and laughing about it. And he's like, I lost it. I'm like, yeah, I did too. Sorry, man.
Yeah, but
glad we got the win.
By the way, those get shown on TV and everybody's like, oh, there's dissension among the ranks. But I think a lot of other NFL people are like, no, that happens whenever two people who are very smart at what they do, who prepare a lot of time together, know a lot of things, have a disagreement when bullets are flying. Then that's how they call Billy O'Brien, Billy Teapot, joining us back here, Chuck Pagano. We're talking about how sometimes coaches and players in the NFL will get into it. We see it on the sideline. It happens in practice. It happens in meeting rooms. It's much more common than people think, I think, outside. But whenever you're not having that means it's just total despise of it. Like, I'm not even wasting my fucking time with this person. Like, I think that is also a telling thing about the culture that was built, Chuck.
Yeah, if it's so bad for so long, over a long period of time, then say it's an offensive room or a defensive room, just the coaches, then guys will give up and say, fuck, it ain't even worth, bringing up any topics anymore, questioning anything, offering up ideas on, the run game, the pass game, third down, etc. They just say, hey, all I'm going to do is get a face full of this coordinator, and it's going to get really loud. So it isn't even worth, the fight anymore. And I think those conversations are critical to be successful. And again, I think it goes back to, the guy in charge, the D coordinator, the O coordinator, special teams, as you know, is a different dynamic. There's only a couple dudes in there. It's Tommy and Mo, and you guys play as big a role as a bunch of assistant coaches in that special teams room. But if those guys that are leading that room, that takes a special dude to make everybody feel like they're being heard. They have a voice. Their ideas are being listened to. You're going to take into account everybody's deal. But at some point, the coordinator, the head coach, got to make a decision, and you have to move on because you're limited time-wise. Otherwise, you'd be in there forever. So, but there's a certain way to handle these situations, and a guy has to be really, really good at listening to everybody and then saying, okay, at the end of the day, this is how we're going to do it. Love all the ideas. These are all great, but I think what's best for our team, what's best to win this game this week is this plan right here. But at least the guy feels like, hey, look, this guy listened to me, listened to our ideas, our thoughts. He just didn't come out and say, that might be the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, it's balancing.
How in the hell am I going to get in front of the offense or the defense and actually, try to convince these guys that this is going to work? That just crushes somebody's soul, as a position coach or whatever. And then what's going to happen is it's going to get real quiet. You're going to be the only guy in there running the machine, talking, communicating, and you're going to, hey, what do you guys think?
Hey, I got a quick question about that situation right there, because Billy O'Brien said that, Tom's very creative. And I knew that coaching him, if you don't understand that he's creative and going to have input, then you're fucked from the beginning, I believe is what Billy O'Brien said. Do you have to, is that a part of the learning process where you have to learn each player's personality and then slot them in how they should be treated? Because not everybody can be treated the same, because you're not going to get the same outcome from treating everybody the exact same way. Now, I'm not saying accountability shouldn't be held for everybody, but there's different ways to communicate with people. Is that something you have to figure out earlier? And is there anybody in your head that you think to yourself, oh, that player, if he was not heard, it was going to be a problem, he was going to be pissed off?
Yeah, as you know, Pat and AJ, being in the building and in the locker room and in those meetings for so long, not everybody's going to be that guy. The quarterback generally is going to be that guy, and depending on the personality of that quarterback, say from an Andrew Luck to a Peyton Manning or a Tom Brady, maybe Andrew was headed that way, as a leader and more of a, if those guys, you better know what you're talking about, number one. Because if you walk in there and you start, trying to, sell a bunch of BS to you guys, to these players, they're going to know right now. So number one, you better know what the frick you're talking about. And then number two, to not listen to your players and not talk to your players who are playing this game at the speed and level and how things are happening on the field is, to me, is just foolish. As a football coach, as a leader, you guys, I always D Butts. D Butts is a guy we wore D Butts out because D Butts knew the game inside and out. Now he didn't when he first got in the league. He wasn't at that point, but what he grew into was a coach on the field, a coach in the meeting room that you could always go to, a D Butts and say, hey, how would you defend this bunch route right here? We're in this coverage. We've been going back and forth on it. What do you think? How do you see it? Blah, 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 blah. And it made all the sense in the world. This guy does this guy does that. And if he does this guy adjusts here. We banjo this. If one stays one, and the point man's locked on number two, then the inside guy has to lock number and it was like, okay, we're not paying you enough. We need to get you a raise. But, and Tom Brady, Andrew, Peyton Manning, we all know who the guys are, in those buildings. Pat, you and Vinny, you guys know the game. You know situational football. Yeah. And you knew when I was up there probably stumbling around and oh shit, coach is struggling a little bit with this rule. I don't know if he could, because the more you try to bullshit around it, the worse it gets. Oh, yeah. So early on, you just got to say, hey, look, guy asked you a question. And I always told the young coaches and guys under me that I was trying to help develop was like, if you don't know the answer, just say, hey, I don't know the answer to that. But I'm going to find out, and I'm going to get back to you ASAP with that answer. And as a player...
Chuck, how are you able to do that? Sorry to cut you off. How are you able to do that? I've said that to Pat before. Pat, I've said this to you. How are you able to actually remove your ego or do that? Because I've told a lot of people this. When you think of people that you probably dislike the most, if you really think about it, you're like, you know what? That person's never asked me a question. They've never said like, oh, what do you think? Or how do you feel? And I find like I pay attention to that. How do you get that as a coach when like you've been around players forever to where you do go to them and say, you know what? Hey, this is a collaborative effort. We're a team. We're all fighting for the same goal, to where you will actually ask for their input and then you'll actually use it.
Yeah, that's just something, AJ, that like when you first start out and we have our first team meeting, in Indy or wherever you're at as the head coach, and you say, okay, this is our identity, all right, this is our culture, this is our process, this is how we're going to roll, and you put up your trust, loyalty, respect, this, that, and the other, and we're going to ask for if you never do that, like you're done. They're going to say, well, this guy's just putting a bunch of cliches up on the wall, a bunch of sayings, a bunch of quotes, a bunch of BS if you never do that. And then humility. You gotta be humble, and you gotta have no ego in this thing. Too many people, in business and in sports, they all want to be the reason we win instead of just be a reason. You know what I mean? And that's where you get sideways, is because you think, okay, I got to be the reason that we win and we're successful. And to me, I don't understand that. So I think you got to humble yourself, and you got to be willing to say, hey, look, I don't have all the answers. And again, go out and surround yourself with really smart coaches, really smart players. Again, that you look at Belichick, and I respect him so much for that, because in the past, however, 2 decades and a half, have you ever heard of this BS come out of New England?
No, never. Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah.
Even players that, like veteran guys, he grabs for a year, gets frickin' monster seasons out of him, then he moves on. You don't hear, there may be a little whisper here or there, I don't know, but you never hear of any BS coming out of
cheat. Well, they cheat. That's the thing. They cheat. That's all they do is they cheat. That's all they do is they cheat.
There's no he said, she said. There's no BS, because
the standard.
Bill knows the game inside and out. He's got a small circle. He keeps that thing tight, and he's got a process, obviously, that's second to none, and he doesn't deviate from that. And he just keeps reteaching. That simple culture up there is do your job. So when guys come in there, it's really simple, Hey, we may not hug, dap it up. I got a feeling that he's got a big heart inside of him. He comes off a certain way, but I still feel like, there's a big heart, because I see those after those championships and things like that. That hug out, him and Stevie, when they called that blitz at the end of the game a couple weeks ago, him and Steve, and that hug between father and son, that was cool. He's got that to him, but that's special. And so, the long and short of it, when you go in and you build your foundation and your culture, and you get guys to echo that throughout your building, your assistants, the staff, this, that, and the other, you got to live that every single day. I think, like leadership, the hardest thing, the gold standard of leadership is being able to hold your peers accountable and do it every single day. And like Pat, hold me accountable, I hold Pat accountable. It goes coach to coach, coach to player, player to coach, locker room to locker room. That's when you have that going on, and then nobody gets sideways over it, and everybody understands how to do that, man, it becomes something, and then you win, man, it's something really special and hard for anybody to beat you.
I agree completely. And the standard being set up there in New England is unbelievable for how long the culture is. I remember that first training camp when you came in. And there was the whole, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do. And you had no idea who I was yet at that point, right? You had no idea who I was. You maybe saw on Twitter, you had heard about who I was. But there was times during punt periods where you were out on the field right next to me for entire punt periods. And we would talk in between reps and everything like that. And the amount of things that you said, and we had those conversations, I think they were like a great baseline for like, oh, this guy wants me to succeed. Like that, I think you like earned my trust, I think, through those small little brief interactions, because with how many people there is to do it, I think just, especially as the head ball coach, I think those moments are where you earn that trust. And I think you did it incredibly, by the way. I think that's why you hear a lot of people say like they love playing for old Chuck Pagano. You know what I mean? I think they love playing for you, man.
Well, I appreciate it. I was scared to death of you, by the way, Pat. To be honest with you, you know that.
Me? How come? How come?
Remember our first meeting, Pat?
Oh yeah. I want to kick, I said. I would like to kick some field goals. The last crew.
Did I already tell this story?
No.
I'm losing my mind.
Maybe. I don't
think so.
Yeah.
We were going through the facilities. Mr. Ursay said, hey, look at the facility, see what we need, do better, change, weight room, training room, all that stuff, So we were through the training, came in the weight room, and you came up, introduced yourself. Hey, I'm Pat McAfee. I'm the punter, kickoff guy, but I want to battle. I want to have an opportunity, to be the kicker here too. I know we got Adam Vinatieri, but I think I'm better than
No. That might have been.
I just want to know if
that
you
ain't
can start
true.
with that. I haven't even met Pat yet, and I'm just like, all right, Pat, great to meet you. I got a lot on my plate right now, and we're going to go through and see if we need a couple new bench presses and a couple new squat racks, be a new hot tub. And things like that, and then we'll get back to the kicking deal. But that was classic.
No, so what happened, and I appreciate that is how it sounded. I wanted to be able to kick in practice. I wanted to be able to actually kick, because the last regime, they had me kick one ball on Wednesday. It was after I held for Vinatieri through an entire thing, and it would be a 65 or a 70-yard field goal. And they're like, we're letting you kick, we're seeing how it goes or whatever. I'm like, can you please let me fucking kick? Because I thought there was still a chance. I was going into my contract year, especially with everything that I've learned from Vinny. I thought I was still going to maybe be able to go somewhere and do both at that point, because how young I was and how fresh my leg was, and I wasn't getting a chance to kick it all. And I'm like, hey, will you fucking let me kick? And you were so nice, by the way. I kicked 2 times a week. I think, honestly, I became the best kicker I'd ever become. I was very thankful. You let me kick in some preseason games, and I was like very, very thankful for what you allowed me to do. And then I got to a point in my age where I was like, yeah, my leg very tired right now. I do not want to fucking do that anymore. You were always very straight with me, and I'm very thankful for that. I think that is a massive ordeal in this entire thing, and that is whenever I heard Urban got laughed out of those meetings after the Chop House incident, it was like, oh, he's lost everybody. Like, they're never going to take him serious anymore. It's just over. That's a real thing. It's fine. A fine line. You have to hold it sacred. I think you did, Chuck. You were amazing. Go ahead, Connor.
Yeah, Chuck, Michael Lombardi was just telling us that after the game, sometimes Belichick would tell the opposing coach or GM, what they were attacking and what they were looking for from the other team. Did you ever have any of those conversations from him? And did you guys ever change your game plan going forward because he kind of let you into what he was seeing?
Well, hey, Connor, if you look at my record versus Billy, it's obviously you can sum that up for yourself and know they never shared shit with me. I think, those conversations, I didn't have a relationship like a lot of guys, probably had with Coach Belichick. He was always kind of handshake, hey, nice try, we kicked your ass again. I'm just kidding. He was always gracious that way. And, you could just tell from his press conference, again, he's very stoic, matter of fact, but he would just kind of detail out in his press conference, how the game went and why it went that way. And that told the tale of the tape. And I think we all know, the rest of the story now, and it's genius, but it's not. It's just common sense. Like, John Taylor is going to have a rough go on Saturday. Unless, because they'll come up with some great blocking, some scheme runs, Frank and the staff will for Jonathan, but he's not going to let that dude wreck the game, right? He's not going to let him wreck the game. Just like when T.Y. became a dude, T.Y. was not catching any footballs.
How come everybody doesn't do that? Why doesn't everybody just do that? Why doesn't everybody do it? Is it because the players being able to adapt to different schemes and strategies, or what do you think it is?
I don't know. It's hard-headed, I guess, but because we always, we would try. We would try. We'd say, remember we'd put up, okay, these are the game records. Special teams, offense, defense, special teams. This is where they excel at. This is what we have to do really good to win this game, and all those kind of things. And sometimes it worked out, especially when Andrew was healthy, and other times, it didn't go our way, but we tried, and I think other people tried, but that's the genius, of Coach Belichick, is the ability, to just do that week in and week out. And he's done it for so long that, as player, because a lot of times you have a system in, offense and defense and special teams. And like a lot of people don't like to change that every single week, or can't do that, can't handle it from a mental standpoint, maybe a physical standpoint. You don't have the players to, with the skill set and flexibility, position flex, to be able to do some of the things week in and week out to maneuver from an over front to an under front to a bear front, etc. On defense, and do all these different things to give an offense a wrinkle and a new look, and defend what they do best and take that away. So I think there's a bunch of things that go into that, and obviously they figured out that a long time ago, and still do that. Lombardi, I don't know if you've ever talked. I need you to maybe share a cell with me, Pat, when we get done today.
I just thought you Italians all just had a group text.
Mm-hmm. I've lost contact. He was in Oakland when I was there in 05 and 06. And I love Mike, and we had some great conversations. And Norv Turner hired me and got me on, and then Norv got fired, and I didn't have a contract because I was coming from Cleveland, and Mike came and gave me a contract through Mr. Davis. And so got a lot of good time with Mike, and I think Mike's he's a brilliant son of a gun, as you guys know, just listening to him and talking football with him, and the whole thing, from personnel to the X's and O's, to every A to Z, like the arrow, on the Amazon truck, A to Z. Yeah, he's got it all covered. He's a good dude. But and Mark Davis, when I was there, I know you were talking about Mark.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He supported that dude for a long time. You got to get him on, and maybe I can help. With it. You guys would love him.
Yes,
he is a fantastic, really fun-loving dude. He wasn't heavily involved when I was there. He'd show up on game days, because Pops was still around, but he was there. And Tina and I lived out in San Ramon, and he had a spot up in Danville, Italian place, in his own booth, one of those story deals. And so we would go up there on date nights on Fridays and stuff. And I don't think, maybe ran into him one time, but he hung out and ate at this Italian place up there. But he's a great dude. He is a really, really fun dude and a smart dude. And he obviously doesn't give a shit what anybody says about that Caesar cut.
Fryer cut.
He's the best, though. You had him on, you would love a conversation with him. It'd be a good convo.
As are you, sir. And we can't thank you enough for adjusting with our technology and maybe your technology. And sorry to your IT guy who might wake up with a horse head in his bed, but we appreciate you so much. Can't wait to chat with you next Wednesday, sir.
Love you guys. Hey, and congrats, by the way, too. I sent you a text, and congrats to all the boys on. And again, if you told me once, Pat, you told me 100 times, and I'm probably one of those guys that told you that, I think you're crazy. You can kick in this league for 20 years. But if Pat didn't tell me once, guys, he told me 100 times that this is what I'm going to do. And and these are my goals. These are my dreams, my aspirations. And I'm gonna be really freaking big in this industry, in this business. And I tip my hat to you, because you had a vision, you set a goal, you know, and you're a really, really bright guy, and I know you're a great leader, a servant leader, and I know those guys love, because the whole thing is, I don't think there's a day. When I started to wake up and dreading going to work, that's when I knew it was time for me to retire.
Yeah.
You know, and I can only imagine, you know, like I wake up on Wednesdays and I'm like so freaking juiced up and fired up because I know I got this little window to be a part of something really, really special. And I know AJ and the boys, everybody there, that you guys wake up every single day and it's not work. It is absolutely not work. And to be able to make that happen, that's because of your leadership, you know, Pat, and the person that you are. And then your philanthropic deal as far as giving the money away, and you're going to be one of the great philanthropic dudes.
No. Well, Chuck, I appreciate you. I'm very lucky for you. I'm very appreciative of you, not only your time each week, but what you did for me as a player and as a human. You're awesome. I appreciate you. I love you. I'm lucky for everybody. Chuck, you definitely a massive part of that as well. We can't thank you enough. Can't wait to chat with you on Wednesday for the brand, baby. You look amazing in that. Tell Tina we said hello. Ladies and gentlemen, Chuck Pagano. That was very nice of him, and I want to let everybody know none of what he said was true. It's very much a team effort. We're lucky to be here. We're idiots, and people watch. We have no idea why, but we're very grateful. AJ, you're the man, dude. I got to get out of here. I got to go to the bathroom, to be honest with you. Today was a massive day from Charles Barkley, Ian Rappaport, Lombo, Chuck Pagano, Urban Meyer, Josh Lambeau. The Super Boost tonight. We can't thank you enough for rocking with us. The way this is going to work now is I think I'm going to give... I think 15 people are going to win $100,000. Ooh. And then one person's going to win $250,000.
Here we go.
Okay.
Shit.
So that is the hashtag PMS FanDuel family. That's a little piece of information there. We will reveal more mañana on a Feel Good Friday with Bill Burr in the studio, as well as Aaron Jones and Al Michaels. Let's have a Friday. Let's enjoy this life. We can't thank you enough for riding alongside of us. Chuck, you're incredibly nice. I can't thank you enough, brother. Your whole family's the best. Cheers to everybody. Bye.